All right, all right, all right. So we're going to give back to the community. We're going to give back to the community. You know, a lot of my fans are mothers, and I don't hate women. I drive past a lot of stuff, so I'm not part of these low producing dude conversations. I'm not part of these conversations where dudes are upset at women. Now, there's a lot of points that women do against black men, and at the same time, they want black man love. It's really weird. It's like your whether it be your sisters, your mom, your auntie, women will stab you, literally stab you, just for being a guy, and then 30 seconds later ask for your help. It's the weirdest thing. And I realize that many of women have plantation thinking. So many women do this type of stuff out of uh, habit. Until you point it out that they're doing it, a lot of them don't even realize that they're doing it. So because I'm not part of the angry at a woman crowd, I said, you know what? Let me help single mothers. Um, One thing you got to get single mothers to do is unlearn a lot of the stuff that they hear from other women about men. For whatever reason, single mothers don't like to listen to actual achieved men. They don't like listen to men who have dominated white men and dominated Asians. They don't like hearing from black men who are in these spaces uh, creating jobs for black folks. It's a weird thing. They rather go to somebody who's going to agree with them. So I kind of, I kind of have a heart for women who have reached a certain age. I have a heart for women who have single mother issues. So I'm going to start doing this on a regular. Uh, you email me your email, and I'll send you a phone link, and we'll talk via phone. Uh, the thing is, women must understand. You have to do the same thing older Asian women do, older Latin women do. You can't do it the black way. Hey Faith, how are you? You know, Faith, you should come up. This would be a great time to have a conversation. Um, Email me, Faith, and I'm going to send you a link. Uh, but we, many of us dudes are not heartless. We want to help women, but we don't want to be chewed out when we tell you that there are four types of women. I mean, four types of men, Faith. There are four types of guys. In all my travels, overseas and here in America, I've touched almost every state, hung out, partied. I jump on planes sometimes just to go party. You know, like I'm going back to Atlanta to go hang out in November. You got to understand there are four types of dude. And single mothers, you must understand that Mr. Research is trying to help you. I'm not trying to put you down like all the other dudes. I'm being for real. I'm trying to help you. There are four types of dudes. Hopefully, Faith will email me and then I'll send her a link. Because, it would be good for you guys to hear from a woman what my ideas on helping you are until we get one of you ladies to call in. So, there are four types of dudes. There are the high value dudes. Now, you've been hearing some guys online trying to say, I value myself. That lets you know automatically that's a low producing guy. He believes that as long as he can make drug money, pimp money, he has value. I said to somebody recently, Value has nothing to do with money, but money must be there to get you out of a lot of crap. And if you constantly have to call your baby mama, you're not at manhood yet. You're at the lowest tier when you got to call your baby mama. When I was selling drugs, I had bail money, I had lawyer money. I only called my people to let them know where I was, and then I went to sleep. Woke up, it's time for court. Here come my lawyer. Hey, here's what we're gonna do. Here's what we're gonna say. I'm not relying on see, that's the difference between manhood and being a boy. So for you single mothers, you got to understand that a lot of times you are the reason why there's such terrible dudes out here, because you're turned on by dudes, and you haven't went to the gym, so maybe you're out of shape, and this particular dude accepts you. He's not asking you to uh uh do what the high value man is asking you to do. Wear your hair a certain way. And see, you're setting yourself up for failure. You're setting yourself up for failure. You can't be in a position as a woman or a single mother and say, I'm only going to do what I want to do, but I still want to be part of the team. Let me say it again. You cannot say as a single mother, I only want to do what I want to do, but I still want to be part of the team. That makes no sense. Nobody's going to put you on a team like that. You might have the greatest jump shot as a female basketball player, but if you're only there to shoot and you ain't getting no rebounds and you ain't, then everybody's going to resent you because all you do is shoot. Nobody's going to want to pass you the ball. The whole team is going to work against you. It's just like with Tony Kukoc. And see, men, we kind of understand this better than women do. It's just like with Tony Kukoc. Tony Kukoc had a great shot, but didn't play no defense. He the tallest dude at the time. I think he was 6'9". He don't grab no rebounds. And he don't pass. All he does is wait on the side to shoot a guaranteed 80%, 85% jump shot. That's nothing. Nobody cares about that. And that's what a lot of women are asking of men. A lot of women are saying, hey, I can shoot this jump shot and I want to be part of the team, but I'm not going to help the team in no regard. I'm not going to get better at defense. Huh? And you want to be a part of the team? Absolutely. Just like Tony Kukoc, I am not going to strip the ball. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What are you talking about? You're not going to strip the ball. No. Okay. I'm looking for your email now, Faith. So you're not going to strip the ball. You're not going to play defense. And you want to be part of the team? Yes, I want to be part of the team, just like Tony Kukoc, but I don't want to play defense, and I don't want to grab no rebound. Hold on, sweetheart. You don't want to grab rebounds? You're 6'9". No, that isn't what I want to do. I want you to grab the rebounds. I want you to play the defense. I want you to make points. And I'll just wait here on the sideline, just like Tony Kukoc, and shoot this guaranteed 85% shot. And then when we do win, you just glorify me because I'm the woman. I'm Tony Kukoc. Wow. Who wants to be part of that? Ask a classy black man at gmail.com. Ask a classy black male at gmail.com. Let me get out of this whole email, come back in and see if I see Faith's email. I still don't see her email. So for single ladies, this is what we're saying to you. Uh we did it go to spam? Let's see. No, it's not in the spam. Hmm. Are you sure you typed in the right email? Oh no, here you go. Okay, send me the link. All right, so here's the thing. When it comes to, and I'm sending you the link now, Faith. I'm sending it through Google Hangout, and you can use the Google phone. So the thing is that, so I sent you a Google Hangout. Just accept the Google Hangout, and that'll give us phone access. Okay, Faith. So here's the thing, and let me stick with this Tony Kukoc until we get people calling in. Tony Kukoc did not play D. Tony Kukoc did not grab rebounds, and he was the tallest one on the team. Therefore, as men, nobody liked Tony Kukoc. People wanted to hurt Tony Kukoc, and Tony Kukoc at one point in time was getting paid more than Scotty and Mike, and he just got to the team. Okay, this is what it's like when you're a guy dating women. This is what it's like. Hey, what's up, BMT? What's cracking? This is what it's like when you're dating guys. We're looking, ladies, like you're playing basketball like we're playing basketball, but you don't want to benefit the team. You only want to do what you want to do. And guess what? Some guys, like I said, there's 4 different types of guys. I'm still waiting on Faith to accept this Google Hangout so we can get her on here. Then you have some guys who they have this thing. Okay, let me give you the 4 types of guys. You got the high level guys. Then you got guys like me. I'm at the 75%. I'm an established career black man. Okay. Established career black men are a little bit different. They're almost high value, but they're a little bit different. I don't have to hustle for my money. My money comes every 2 weeks, every month, irregardless of my other business. It comes every 2 weeks. Okay. So I'll give you the StreamYard. So I'll send you the StreamYard, Faith. So I just sent it, Faith. I just sent you the StreamYard. So hopefully you ladies understand this, because, and if you ladies want to call in, just email. But here's the thing. Just like Tony Kukoc, we'll have you on the team for 1 or 2 games. We'll have you on the team until we get to the playoffs. Now, let me show you. Women, y'all do the same thing. You women get men for the meantime. You're just like Nicki Minaj. When you need help writing your lyrics, you get Safari. Anybody who has ever seen Safari's writing style or any of his wordplay knows that Nicki Minaj got most of that, and not all, because she used to sound like Remy Ma. That Nicki Minaj got most of that from Safari. I sent you the StreamYard. I'm waiting on you to connect to the StreamYard. I sent you the StreamYard link, Faith. So we have Faith here. So with a lot of ladies, what I'm trying to say before we hear from Faith, what I'm trying to say to you, a lot of you ladies, when you want to be on the team, it is a team. It's not, hey, I'm Tony Kukoc, the rest of y'all work for me. So before Faith comes on, let me make sure I break this down again. There are four types of black men. Okay. This is on the basketball court. This is in business. Some dudes, we dudes have to shoot, stab, and kill because they out of pocket. Therefore, we don't deal with certain dudes. And this is how it breaks down. Okay. And it's been the same from the dope game, the pimp game, all the way to the corporate game. Okay. You have the high value dudes, Miss Faith. The high value dudes have reached a higher echelon and they're competing, key thing, with white, Asian, and Indians on a weekly basis. And they're winning for their family, and those that are connected to it. That's why high value dudes, when they sit down in a business meeting with a Jew or whoever, it's a lot of family talk. It ain't no get the bag talk. Then you got people like me. I work in medical finance. Okay. Started from the hood, came all the way up to medical finance. I'm an established black man. I'm a career black man. I don't have to hustle. I don't have to do contracts, Faith. My checks come every 2 weeks just by me showing up. Okay. That's in addition to the work I do. It's high profile. Then you got the 50-50 brothers. The 50-50 brothers are third. They're not bad dudes, but they just believe that everything is supposed to be 50-50, 100-100. And they try not to be doggish to women, but they slip into the good and slip into the bad quite often because they haven't fell into the system of, hey, bruh, you need to do 60%. And this woman is here to be a helpmate, according to the Bible, according to Judaism, according to Islam. It's supposed to be a helpmate to what you're already achieving. See, he hasn't got to that part yet. He's still with the, hey, you should be helping me. Okay, this is that 1980 thinking. This came out in 1980. That work with a brother's stupidity that women do. Then you got the last brother, the low producing brother. Everything is everybody else's fault. He's the one that wants to put on a ski mask and go steal as opposed to work. He's the one that used to snatch chains out in Brooklyn when I used to hang out in Brownsville. He's the dude that's the stick-up kid. He never want to go earn. That's why the Italian mob said there's earners and there's thugs. Faith, what are your thoughts?
Okay, I'm sorry. I had my cell phone mute. I had actually was typing in the chat room on my YouTube. I wanted to know, is it okay for me to also send the link out to BMT because he's down there?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right. BMT, it's okay for you to go ahead and take the link. But this is how I feel about that. As far as high value men, I always tell women on my channel that there aren't a whole lot of high value men in the Black community. So first of all, for the number of us that want the high value men,
but there is quite a few.
Well, no, there really isn't. Not in the Black community. You're looking at maybe the top 10%.
I'm a corporate guy, and I'm telling you, there's quite a few.
Oh, okay, all right. So, but the numbers do not agree with you. That there just really aren't. We're talking about high earners, right?
No. We're not talking money.
Okay, well, you're talking about high quality,
high value. We're talking about
high value and high quality are two different things.
Well, quality cannot be measured. Quality is a per person.
Okay, well then when we're talking about value, we're talking about things such as income. We're talking about things such as his accomplishments, et cetera, et cetera. Those are the things that can be measured, and that's what I'm talking about. That's maybe the top 10%.
Okay, go ahead. That's fair.
Okay, but what I was saying is in our community is kind of disingenuous to have Black women, just going after the top 10%. That's the reason why I pretty much preach quality over value, because you're not going to get, when you're talking about going into a certain income bracket, that's when the men start falling off, unless you're willing to tell Black women to open their options and date outside of the race and the culture.
That's fair.
Okay. So now if you're talking about doing that, then there are some things that we're going to have to do in order to compete, because now in order to go outside of the race and the culture, we are going to be competing with different races of women. And so then that's when things like, having certain attributes like your weight and your size and all that type of stuff does come into play, because men of other groups, they're not like Black men that we're used to, that like a larger size woman, and other things that, we're kind of used to in just our group.
What do you?
So I will agree with you there.
What do you consider with the established career men, the ones that are just a tier below high value?
Well, when you're talking about career, what type of career, because you have blue collar guys that are career guys too.
Blue collar, name what you consider a blue collar career.
Well, like truck driving, the industry that I'm in, that's a career.
That's contract.
No, it's not. It's a career. It's also a career, because you can take that from just being a driver to being an owner, and then take it into, creating a business where you have an entire fleet. So it's a career. There's a progression.
Interesting. So you consider a career a person who has who is an owner. That's what you consider a career.
Well, not just the owner, but it's one component of it. I don't want to, get off into semantics of it, because then we'll be arguing back and forth, and there's no point.
Okay. So let me let you finish speaking, but I'm going to suggest this to you. Just from a guy, careers and owners are not the same. And what
okay, well, that's fine. I'm not going to argue with you on that point, because that's how you feel.
I'll be quiet. Go ahead.
But as far as what you're talking about as far as what women would have to do, is this what you're talking about? Because I want to be very clear on what you're asking me.
So I was trying to ask about the career guy, but you've put them all together. So I'm trying to understand your version of the career guy, because okay, let me just say this. When women put stuff all together like this, it muddies the water, because men don't see it all together. We don't see owners and career the same. We go by the definition. We go by the college definition of a word. And what ends up happening sometimes, and I'm not trying to, I'm
well,
being
that's fine. I mean, if you want to go by, I will go by your definition, just to, progress the conversation along.
Yeah, it's just if you say that a security officer is a career, if you say a plumber is a career, then why do they get contracts?
Okay, that's fair enough. I'm not even going to argue the semantics on that. Let's move on.
Okay, so I guess my point I'm trying to suggest is that when you have said that the high value guys are harder to get because they're 10%, and I was asking, what about the career guys? Let me ask you in a different way. What about the guys who don't get contracts, don't own the business? They just have a high money making every 2-week check. What do you think about women for those guys?
Well, like I said, it depends on what type of high earnings are you talking about? Are you talking about the top 10% that's making over $250,000 a year?
70 to 99. 70 to
Okay,
90.
so you're looking at probably about 40%.
Right.
That's more okay, that's more, like it. And to me, that's not exactly high value. That's
That's why I
that's
call them
middle. That's
established. Those are just
yeah.
established guys. Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. So when you're talking about those guys, I mean, yeah, I mean, definitely, you want to, I would put it like this. I mean, any woman should want to put her best foot forth, period. But I don't know. I mean, exactly what are you asking the women to do for these middle income earning men?
So income is a little bit lower. Middle income is under 69. That's
Well,
considered.
not in today's economy. You're talking about 70, 80,000.
Yeah.
That's
70,
that's middle
80,000.
income.
You call that middle income?
Yes, that's middle income in
Okay.
today's society.
Okay. I work in finance. I've never seen that as middle income. So what is high income then?
High income, in my opinion, is anything over six figures.
Okay, so if middle income is 70 and middle meaning half, then what do you consider that comes in between high and middle? What comes in between high and middle?
That's what I'm saying. Like I would say someone, because even $100,000 in some places is not gonna get it. I would say the
Mm,
middle would probably be like 120K or something like that.
okay, I get it. So here's what I would say to what a lot of men see this stuff as. And this was a perfect example. I thank you so much for coming up because we can all learn. We as men don't consider those numbers the way our ladies consider it. We don't. We consider them the same as other men in other cultures. Anything under 69 is considered middle. Anything under 30 is considered low. Anything over 99 is considered high. And then you have the $250,000 dudes. We just don't look at it like that. So I think that's great that we had that conversation, because when it comes to women trying to understand how we see stuff as men, we don't see it like that. We don't see those numbers like that. A guy in Atlanta, my friend in Atlanta, making 70K, okay, because of the earning of Atlanta, he would now be in the high value, the 125 and things of that nature. When it comes to where I live in the West Coast, California, near San Francisco, you're anywhere between, like, I make 90. You're anywhere between 71 and 99. You're established. You're not middle class. The middle class is lower than that. It does, people look at these numbers sometimes, and I think they're looking at how you can live in such a way as opposed to the actual dollars coming in. And
Okay, well, I would have to disagree with you because there are certain areas in the United States where if you're making 70 to 90,000, you're basically, you're kind of struggling. You're still in that middle class group. Like say for instance, you live in Brooklyn or something like that in New York.
mhm.
70 to 90,000 is not going to be hitting the same as if you were living somewhere like Indiana or something like that.
Okay, interesting. Here's my final question on it. How do you think these types of brackets affect the children and taking care of children? Because I think sometimes there's a difference between these monies coming in to show how you living versus how I see it, money coming in to take care of the kids. How do you see the money coming in, the 70, 80, and you said that they're struggling. So if a 70,000 person is struggling, are they struggling to take care of their child?
Well, it depends on what the family dynamic is. Like, say for instance, if I met a man that's making 70,000, that's perfectly fine for me, but I would also have to work in order to maintain the type of lifestyle that I would, want to live. But if we're talking about just all of us living off of his 70,000, there's no way.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Let me get BMT. BMT is here. What are your thoughts, Mr. BMT?
I guess we're talking about rearing and raising a family, correct?
No, we're talking about how the reason for the show is I'm trying to help single mothers with the marriage potential of things. Like, I don't have a problem with single mothers, but I'm an established dude, and established dudes don't have the same conversation as lower value dudes or lower producing dudes. Lower producing dudes are trying to shame women, be mad at women. When you up when you up on a larger level, you're just not as mad. You have a plan for this woman. You have a reason why you're with this woman. So I'm just trying to do it in a helpful way. I know a lot of people are not going to understand it because they're not used to black men from the hood talking like this, but once you get up to a certain financial status, hit the wall, and a lot of conversations just no longer apply. So though the conversation we're on right now is, and you're in the housing business, how do you see middle class versus upper class financially? How do you see that?
We're looking at it at a economic and social based level, especially when it comes down to the housing market, because you can have the money and move into a place, and HOA, or pretty much the homeowners association of that group, depending on your lifestyle, they'll push you out or they'll make it harder for you, with noise complaints and police and stuff like that. So depending on the type of people that you affiliate with, or for instance, I had a female. She bought a new house, but her man, he didn't appreciate it. Him and his friends didn't appreciate it, driving in and riding through and revving up their engines and stuff. So the police kept getting called and called and called, and literally, after a while, like they literally were forced out, because literally they were put into a predicament where they just could not really be there. It just wasn't fortuitous to their investment, and so they made it. Thank you. They made it hard, and honestly, they can make your life a living hell. As far as, go ahead.
Let me ask you this question: What do you think do you think there's a difference with the career man? Do you think the career man is, because Faith was saying that career guys are the same as owners and the same as contract people? Do you consider that to be true?
A career guy the same as an owner? No.
And a contractor?
No. There's different levels on how we think.
Explain, please.
A career and an owner are not on the same page, because as a career person, I got to be honest for you, because like military, I had a career. That was a career, because I was being told, like, this is my job, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, this is what I'm set out to do. As an owner, I'm looking at legacy. I'm looking at longevity. I'm looking at a system that I am building from the ground on up. A career is something I'm coming into that literally I am just maintaining. As a soldier, I maintain peace and protection, political movements and stuff like that. As a business owner, when I started running these businesses, literally my mindset, I had to start going to classes. I actually started having to meet and actually talk on political levels, learn about zoning and different other stuff, I'm like, whoa, I'm doing more. I'm doing more. There was a more of a weight on me than on the career opportunity. Like I hired people under me, like the welders or the people that had the careers. They worked under me and under my hedge of protection. But as the owner, there's no everything falls on my weight. So there's
Okay,
more.
let me go ahead and clarify, because see, I didn't want to get into this conversation because I really
Okay.
wanted to progress on to the topic, but since Mr. Research is going to force the conversation anyway, he asked me what I thought a high value earner was, and I
Oh,
said it really depends on what the income was, and I said, and that's also to include guys that are in blue collar fields. And he said, like what? And I used trucking as an example. And he said that's contracting. But no, it does not, trucking does not automatically start off as contracting. Okay, when you first get into the trucking industry, most of the time you are working for someone. That's the reason why I said it is a career progression. Like when
oh, okay.
I first started off working as a company driver. Then I became a trainer. Then there were other areas of the field that I can get off into where I can get my broker's license, or I can become a dispatcher, or there's a lot of different areas of the industry. That's the reason why I said it is a career. And then also you can become an owner. So that's what I was talking about. That's the reason why I didn't want to get into the semantics of it.
What are your
But
thoughts?
now I explained myself? Have I made myself perfectly clear? That's the reason why I didn't want to delve off into it, because now we're going to be talking about a totally different topic.
So here's the unfortunate thing. Sometimes when um I respect everybody's view. Okay, doesn't mean that I'm right about everything. But sometimes when we as guys are trying to marry the two understandings and we're trying to be helpful, like in this case toward women, we want some of our ladies to just understand that we see these things differently. And that's the only reason why I push the conversation, as you say, force, is because I wanted the audience to understand our ladies are even our ladies who love black men are going to see things differently, and guys are going to see things differently. So now that we move forward into love, the conversation about love, let's understand that when you're in these marriages and these relationships, fellas, even though that lady loves you, she may have a totally different understanding of you and what you call, for example, a career versus what she may call the semantics of a career. This is how we heal in these loving relationships, in my view. And let me also say, and then we'll go back to faith. And then what let me also say is that when you as a guy are interacting with the single mother, which is this topic, she may not understand your views. And I'm glad you guys kind of witnessed all this and BMT was here. She may not understand your views as you see the world versus what you dealt with as a boy up until now. And for you ladies, the same thing is true. You may have a different view of these things. And this is when I believe you ladies have to have that moment where you say, okay, let me and him meet in the middle. Is that fair, Faith?
Okay, well, I have no problem with meeting the man in the middle.
Right, right. No, I didn't say you had a problem with it. I'm just saying the technique that the audience can use of understanding that the lady may understand it different and a guy may understand it different. That's all I was saying. Let's move on to quality because that's what Faith had brought to the table. Um, Give me an understanding, Faith. What do you consider when you say you teach women quality? What does that look like?
Right, because see, a lot of times we get caught up in the whole chasing the bag thing, looking for the guy that has the most money. But a lot of times, all money just isn't good money. You know, you may end up in a Cardi B Offset situation. You want to definitely look at the character of the man, determine his quality, determine if he is husband and father material. Is he a provider? Is he a protector? These are things that are also just as valuable as his income. But right now, we have a lot of people out here preaching, get the bag, get the bag, get the bag. But they're not also preaching quality, quality, quality. So there has to be a balance. Now, to me, that is where the balance comes. And I'm not saying that there are not high quality men who are not father material. I'm not saying that at all. I am saying that with any man that you look at as far as marriage, as far as having a family with, you definitely want to look at his character and make sure that he has the characteristics of being a husband and being a father. If he's just a earner and that's it, then you're going to be strapped to somebody who can potentially be a cheater, somebody who can potentially just use the money as leverage to control you, but they're not really interested in family building with you at all. And if they are interested in it, it's completely lopsided.
Let me ask one more question before we go back to BMT because I want to learn. So when you said being a husband, and I heard those requirements, what is the quality for her?
As far as what, being a wife and a mother?
Yeah.
Well, you know, there are different things that men should look at as far as a woman, as far as her ability to be a wife and a mother. You know, first of all, you want to see if she is, how can I say, relationship or family minded. Just like there are men who are not family oriented, there are women out here who are definitely not family oriented. They want to be out here in these streets. They want to be out here, you know, having their fun. And people that are of that mindset, they're not of a settling down mindset. So you have to look at that first. But if you have a woman that's more, you know, speaking on the lines of she wants to be a wife and a mother, and then she exhibits those types of behaviors in her own home and in the way that she carries herself, in the way that she speaks, in the way that she dresses, you know, that is somebody that you might want to take a lot more seriously than a person that sits up here and say they want to be a wife and a mother, but their actions are, they're always in the club, they don't keep their house clean, they're pretty much bad with finances, they don't have anything saved up. Those are characteristics of a woman that you might want to skim over because she's not ready. She doesn't know how to run a household and hasn't been taught those things.
That's a very good point. I before we go to BMT, I find that for me personally, in my search for a wife, I'm scared of a lot of women. The way they approach the things that they say, it's extremely a lot of the stuff you said, and it's like I'm not into white girls, but I see why a lot of people fall for the white girl pretender bot, because some of the things that you just described it should be the way it should be when you got a guy that's not hitting on you or cheating on you. But unfortunately, some of this stuff is very combative. Oh, we lost Faith. What are your thoughts, BMT?
Oh, is she coming back? What happened?
I don't know. I hope I didn't say anything to offend her.
No. I think she just dropped up. She drives, so she drives.
Yeah, I
so.
know. Yeah.
Go ahead, brother.
What are your thoughts?
Could you ask the question again?
So the whole topic is to help single mothers.
Right.
I think that we as guys, we think differently.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, until Faith come back, I'll revisit this with you. I think there's four type of guys. There's the low level guys, the low producing guys. I think there's the 50-50 guys, the guys that kind of need help. They always looking for somebody to be 100. You know, they really can't do stuff on their own. Then you got the guys like myself who are established men. We're like career men. Our checks come every 2 weeks. You know, we don't have to hustle for them or anything. Oh, Faith's back. Let me get off that. Well, I'll talk about that another time. So Faith is back. Let me ask you guys. Let me turn this into an interview session. Let me ask you guys, what do we think that women can, single mothers can do to attract the because Faith was saying that the high level guys are 10%. So what can the single mothers do to attract the established guys? What can happen there? Anybody have any advice?
Well, I could probably say, but I know a lot of guys who are getting with single mothers. One thing is definitely have some of your life goals together. I think that goes a long way. You know, a woman who is goal orientated or pretty much has driven, already got her financial path set, because literally you're taking on, when you take her in and her child, you're taking on her debt. You're going to be taking on her debt.
I find that a lot. I find that a lot of women don't realize that. I was on two lady shows this past week, and a woman said it's insecure for a man to be worried about her child, and I was like, well, so he should just deal with it if he want her. And I'm like, wow, you can't even see that this person is coming into something already going on. It's just amazing. That's why I said, you know, a lot of these discussions get very scary. I have a heart for women, but some of the conversations are like, we want to use you. We want, and it's like, wow. What are y'all thoughts?
Well, I don't know. I can't really speak to those women or anything of that nature, but you know, a lot of times, you know, women do feel as if men are out to just get, you know, sex from us. So, you know, a lot of times we're just on high alert, you know, for that, because there is that element out there. There's no denying that doesn't exist.
Do you think the established guys, the career guys, I know everybody's human, so there are some guys in that would do that no matter what level they're at. But do you really think the career and established guys have time to be worried about? I mean, they can just go pay for sex.
Well, I mean, they're no better than the guy that isn't established. I mean, they have a libido too. So, you know, I don't see why a woman cannot be just as much on high alert with the career guy. I mean, they always say it's always the person that you least expect. So there's a lot of wolves in sheep clothing out here that will pretend, hey, you know, I'm a high quality guy. You know, I'm not on that. But that could very well be what they're on. There's a guy out here right now, very articulate, you know, very well spoken, going around with a petition for, you know, financial abortion. He wants to pump and dump. He wants to legalize the pump and dump. So it's not like it's not out here.
That's interesting. Okay, the only thing I guess for me is that I don't normally have those type of conversations. So it's like, if women are always scared of me and scared of what I might do, why would I want to be part of that community?
Well, it's not that we're afraid of you. It's just that we have a how can I say, we have boundaries. I'll put it that way. And it's okay for women to have boundaries the same way it's okay for men to have boundaries. That is what protects us and allows us to make better choices and mates. So there's nothing wrong with boundaries.
Okay, and I saw you use the word boundaries, but what does that mean in relation to relationships?
Well, that means that, you set a certain way, in which you want to be treated. You let the person know right off guard. Hey, this is not a pump and dump situation. I'm looking for a serious commitment. If you're not here for that, then you can go somewhere else. And then from there, you look at the person. If they say that that's what they're here for too, you wait and watch their actions. Those are the boundaries. You just
Oh,
set the boundaries.
okay. So let me make this statement and let me see how you guys feel about it. Uh, Majority of the guys that I've interacted with are I don't I'm trying to understand, but a majority of us don't do the pump and dump thing. In when once you reach a certain financial bracket, the pump and dump thing, you can go higher than that. You don't sit up here and have a phone call with a woman to try to convince her to do it for free. It's only $40. It's only $100. So most guys, I'm trying to. I guess for me, what I hear is like, and not just from what Faith is saying. BMT, maybe you can help me out. I hear from a lot of women, the man who has elevated himself, he's in the same category with the thug. Why would I want to be part of that community if women are thinking like that?
I think the thing about it is, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
One of the biggest things about it, Mr. Research, is you're trying, as an established man, to bring a culture, because a man makes a culture. His home is his own culture, right?
True.
As an established man as you are, if you're taking on a single mother, she has a culture that she already is providing for her and her little village or her kids. You're trying to reform or change that culture. Now, there's two types of ways this happens. Either the man gets absolved into her culture and becomes that, where it's kind of hard for him to have a dominance.
True.
Or she submits and comes into his culture and says, me and the kids, children, this is your father. I'm his wife. You know what I'm saying? We're going to support his culture and what he's building. Because the first culture children learn is in the home. Hey, shoes come off, TVs come off at 5 o'clock. We're going to have reading time. Me and the wife, our time together is at 8 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? So there's certain things that you're setting up and establishing. But you're seeing it where certain men who are not at that type of frequency level, they just go along with what their woman says, and she's like, no, this is your position. This is what you play. You're just this. And so it's quite a bit of a different feel, because then she's like, well, you're just a tool. You're not the asset. You're just a tool. So you definitely are seeing that is definitely happening, while the respect is not going to really be initiated, if I overstated it.
What are your thoughts on that, Miss Faith?
Yeah, I wanted to jump in there because BMT is right on point. There's either you're going to merge with her culture that she's already established for herself and her children, or she's going to submit to yours. But here's the thing, though. When a man is getting into a relationship with a single mother and you have an idea of how you want your household run, you are going to not only have to win over that woman, you're going to also have to win over her children. And see, what I think a lot of men in these situations do is they expect the women to just conform, and then the children just conform over with her. And it's got to be a partnership between you and her to get those children to conform. The same way that you had to win her over, now you have to win the children over with her help. You both have to be involved in that. And that's what I don't hear a lot of men speaking on.
Because that's a lady's philosophy. There's no time in history that has ever happened. Every time that those situations have happened in the days of radio, in the days of black and white TV, those people would respect whoever had the more consistent life. Let me give you an example where women are winning and the guy wasn't. If a woman had an established career, established life, and this guy was a bum, kind of like Marilyn Monroe's first husband, he conformed to what she had going on until he couldn't take it no more. Nobody, I just never understood how, and I realize it's a community thing. It's really the USA community thing. But if I have my property, if I have everything going on for me the way I have now, I'm less likely to have to convince anybody to do anything. And maybe that's arrogant on our part, but we have the option to not be involved. And I think that's where a lot of people.
Then you shouldn't be looking at getting with a single mother, because it is arrogance on your part, because the children are human beings too. They would have to get on board with your program too and understand what it is that you have already put in place. If you have your stuff put in place and you're talking about getting with a woman that has children and you're not interacting with those children, you're not communicating with them and letting them know, hey, this is what I have in store for you, to include them in the scenario of the marriage, then it's going to be doomed from the beginning. So yes, it is very arrogant, and it's not going to be productive.
So no one said communicating, you added that, and no one said interactive, you added that. I'm talking about where the mother who interacts with the children does most of the convincing. But you're saying that this guy,
right. What I'm saying is if you're going to be in partnership with her and you want her, you've convinced her already because she sees your lifestyle. You have to also convince the children. And I do understand that the mother communicates with the children, but you also have to be there with the mother in order for those children to look up to you. So the mother can't be sitting up here talking to the children, talking about, oh, here, this is your father, this is the program that he's on, but you're not also there showing them your program. That's leadership.
Right. And a shout out to the chat room. Thank you very much. Hit the like button and thank you for the Cash App. And gentlemen, I say this to you all the time. It's okay to be called arrogant. You need to wear arrogance as a sign of honor, because it is in our community, it's a shaming word, but really it's not. You know, once you get up to a different level, when people call you arrogant, it's their way of saying that they can't cope with it. And the reason I mention arrogant is because it's true. If I'm not able to understand this thing where I have to do majority of the work that the mother, I would think, should be doing, being that they're her children, then maybe I'm obtuse, slow to understand. But that's why we have these panels. It's not to be right. It's to have a discussion so we can learn. What are your thoughts, BMT, on what Faith had to say?
I didn't get to hear everything she said. So I don't want to misquote anybody on everything, because she kind of went in and out. I don't know, Mr. Research, to whom it may apply. That's all I can tell you. To whom it may apply. But honestly, I mean, in this day and age, I would ask men if they truly want to be that leader in their home, are they meeting the certain requirements? A woman's not going to listen to a man that literally ain't got his own stuff in order. I mean, she'll tag along with you to use you as an asset or a tool to a means to her end. But women have always done that since the dawn of time. And I think we had it where my mother called in on the show and said that. But now that they have an option where they don't need to have to deal with a man, they can literally say, "Well, shit, you're not going to be a benefit to maintaining a legacy, so I don't need you."
hmm and you know what? With that type of theory, I think men need to stay away, and that's kind of what it is. And I think that's why this community is how it is, because um, we spend so much time trashing men and telling men that they're not this and not that, and I do it also. I don't have a problem. I think we need to shame dudes more often so that they can level up to be competitive in male spaces. But at the same time, it, it's very difficult when you have a lot to lose as a man and you're being told uh, all these dismissive things about you as a guy. It's very unique place to love black women and being told that you're a worthless guy at the same time. It's kind of
now,
weird.
now, I would ask this, Mr. Research. If you've seen the movie 300, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Would
Bunch
you
of,
want a
bunch of gay guys running around, but go ahead.
now? Do we want weak soldiers? Do you think we're producing more so weak soldiers, or do we need strong soldiers that can, you know, put up a good fight and compete? Which one do you think we've been producing more out of in stock?
Well, we haven't produced soldiers at all. We've produced slaves. I
Oh,
mean, right now, if they came out with another form of cotton, we don't have enough warriors to stop the Indians, the Asians, and the whites from joining together against black people. We just don't. Well, you look
Well,
at what
I
happened.
just
Look at what happened in Libya, for an example, just as a historical example. You had a lot of people who thought they were men, who thought that the Arab Islam guy was his brother. But what happened? They all turned on him. And now you got a bunch of grown guys crying. You got women getting raped. You got children getting raped. And they all getting sold. And they trying to jump into the water to leave the country that they were born at, because Arab guys have come over the sea to dominate their country with the help of Hillary Clinton. It's ridiculous. Go ahead, Faith. I'm sorry.
Jesus.
Well, that's what I think BMT is getting at. I don't know if this is exactly what he's getting at, but when he says that are we raising a bunch of weak soldiers, that's where the man's influence comes into. And I preach about all black families matter on my platform all the time. I think that it's very important that blended families, the adults in the situation are mature and that they get along. If a man is going into a situation where he knows that the woman has children, he does have to put on his leadership cap, and he does have to, as Raw Beast stated down there in the chat, he does have to win the children over. It's not just the woman's job to make sure that the children are won over. The children have to experience you in order to be won over as well. So it's a team effort. And then also, if there's the father who might be still in the picture, you as a man also has to work with him, whether you like it or not, because you don't want to X a man out of his children's lives. So all of you together are working together to raise those children. And so that is how you become a strong community and a strong blended family. And the baby daddy on the outside is part of the family too, as well as a woman would have to accept the baby mama that's on the outside. But
Absolutely.
these are things we don't like to talk about, because the maturity level just isn't there.
You mean the maturity level for the guys?
No, the maturity level also for the women, because there are some women who are very immature too and bickering back and forth, with the baby mamas. And if the guy has kids with the baby mamas, she want to treat them differently. So, on both levels, all adults. That's why I said all the adults in the situation have to be mature, and they have to be accepting of each other as a family and a community.
Thank you for being fair. I really appreciate that. That's one thing I like about Faith. Faith is fair. I remember some of your early trucking videos when guys used to come over there. I wasn't a fan of the channel, but I used to occasionally see it, and I had to email comments to some of the guys like, "Why are you over here calling names? Why are you over here? Be fair, dude. It's like it's ridiculous." So shout out to you for always being fair. Let me say this for the ladies who are listening, because a couple of people hit me on Facebook. So as it relates to a lot of single mothers, here's how I see it, and you've heard from my two guests here. Here's how I see it. We dudes are not perfect, especially those of us who are competing against the white man on a regular basis. When you're competing against the white man on a regular weekly basis, a lot of your mental energy is drained. It's just like the white guys from the 20s and 30s and 40s. You are drained. You're coming home. You don't mean to be dismissive, but on a high, when you're in these high producing situations as a guy, it's not like a low level dude. This is to my people on Facebook asking me questions. It's not like a low level dude. A low level dude, he has time. A 50-50 dude has time. When you're mentally drained, ladies and gentlemen, you just don't have time. So all this sounds good, and it's probably the most righteous thing what BMT and Faith are saying. But I'm telling you, as a guy who I have to catch my mouth because I'm from the hood. When my boss, his boss, a linear manager says something crazy to me, I have to be strategic just to keep this money rolling. I'm the only black guy in the building. And when you got that type of thing, plus I got 12 brothers hired over the past 2 years. When you got that type of recognition, they're always looking to tear you down. And the last thing I have energy for is when I get home to do XYZ with the kids or my wife. It is the righteous thing I'm supposed to do, but a lot of times on a high profile, I'm too drained. Somebody educate me. Raw B, Faith, what are y'all thoughts on what I just said?
I think that's so true. Like, men, when they're working hard, they are usually drained when they come home. But that's when it's the job of a woman or whatever parent is at home to be that balance. See, this is when people have to be self-sustaining and self-sufficient. I don't need my husband to pay me attention 50 million times out of the day. Sunday is his day. We do all our family stuff. But during the week when he's working, if he comes in and he's tired and he just wants to sit somewhere and look at a game or something, I'm not tripping off of that. Women have to learn how to understand what it is that their mate requires. But back to the earlier portion of the conversation that I came in on, I'm going to tell you guys, when it came down to my children, my husband didn't meet my daughter until we were engaged and we were about to be married. And the interactions were, as Faith said, small encounters because he had to win her affection. He won my affection. He had to win her affection. Because I don't know if men want to realize this or not. If the children don't like you, the mother is not going to submit to you and she's not going to stay with you because her primary action item is those children. And if that's an issue for men, then as Faith also said earlier, men should not deal with single mothers.
And I think this is why in this space, this is why a lot of the men, even though I don't feel that they should tease women about it, this is why I think a lot of the men are saying to the women demographic out there, even when you're with a white guy, there are certain rules that white guy is going to want to have adhered to, even when you deal with a Latin guy. And if you're a woman who has made this mistake, let's not call the child a mistake. Let's call it a younger time in your life, then when this new person comes in, even if it's a young guy getting with an older woman who has kids, there has to be some balancing act for this other person. It can't just be, you know what you're dealing with, you know who I am, and it's real unique if that's going to be the discussion. Somebody educate me though. I'm here to learn. It got quiet all of a sudden. Everybody okay?
No, I had something to say. I just didn't want to, overtalk anybody.
I
Oh,
didn't
I'm
give
sorry.
nobody.
I'm over here being fat. I'm over here eating, trying to cook and eat at the same time. I'm sorry, guys.
Let me say it again. Especially for the chat room. While I love women, I don't want to come into a situation where I become the open wallet, where I become the disvalued person. I've seen that several times. I've seen guys who love women, love black women, be used, and the girlfriends of that woman say nothing. And I think that's an honest fear a lot of guys have, especially established guys, because we got property and stuff. We ain't trying to have you come in for a couple of years and then divorce us and take half, and that's your come up. No, why would I do that?
Well,
So
Mr. Research, the onus of not being used, with all due respect, that would be on you. The same way the onus of not being used, as far as women go, that would be on us. That's why there's the vetting process. If you're with a woman and you start seeing signs that this is what she's all about, then you don't ignore those red flags. You got to just let her go. And it's the same thing with women. So, you can't just, put that all on a woman like, oh my gosh, she's using and abusing me and all of that. You're not going to be able to control that other person, but you can control yourself. You can control what you see. You can control what your mind is telling you, what your intuition is telling you about this person. And you got your boundaries set, and that person crossed over those boundaries one too many times. You know what you got to do. But a lot of times the guys, they get so caught up with the booty. Let's just be honest.
yep,
They
yep.
get caught up with the booty and they don't want to let it go.
I take a flat butt girl with brains every day. I take a flat chested girl with brains every day, but I prefer for her to be dark. Shout out to Nameless Procrastinator. He mentions this. Without culture, I'm not sure how people are supposed to find these role models to adapt when it's more critical. Adapting is more critical. Again, adapting is more critical in their times of development. He makes a good point. The only thing I will say to NP is that the culture is already damaged. To quote the culture isn't a point of discussion because the culture is damaged. We don't have a flag, so therefore it's damaged. How can black women help the culture moving forward? We're going into 2021, possible new president, possible repeat president. How can the women assist the culture as a whole, ladies?
I don't think it's on the women to assist the culture. I want to know, how can the men assist the culture? Because at the end
Right.
of the day,
I agree, Rob. At the end of the day, we need to stand down and let the
Okay,
men do
great.
their job.
So I'm going to answer that. I'm going to put us on a 30-second pause until the people do the righteous thing and hit the like button. And so count down to 30, and we'll be right back while the people hit the like button. I'm going to answer both of your questions. All right, so welcome back, and I'm going to give my view on it, and then we'll let BMT get his view on it. But let's start here, ladies. How do you feel? I'm going to answer, I promise, but I need a prerequisite. Ladies, how do you feel when women say to other women, "That's toxic male masculinity. He too toxic"? How do y'all feel when women say that to other women?
That's on a case. Oh, that is on a case by case basis because some men are toxically masculine and some men are just regular masculine. When a man is a misogynist and he's doing too much, that's toxic masculinity. But if it's just, oh well, he said he want his dinner on the stove at 5. Okay, do that. You know what I mean?
Faith?
Yeah, exactly. Like if you got a man that's constantly, yelling at the woman, you sit down, you shut up, and you just do what I say. That's toxic. Okay. But if you got a man that says, okay, I work hard all day, I pay the bills, I'm tired. When I get home, I want my food on the table, and I don't want, really to be bothered. That's different. That's something totally different. One is toxic, the other one isn't. Like Rob B stated, there's differences.
All right, so here's my answer, ladies, and please keep your answers in mind when I say what I say. This is a very anti-male community. No matter how much Black men assist many women, only 20 to 30% are grateful or appreciative. Okay, 80%, even if they saw you with diamonds in your hand, will still try to be anti-male. In order to fix that, the first thing I had to do is get you 20 and 30% ladies to understand that I'm dealing with an anti-male community. It was not the white men that helped Black women before the right to vote. It was Black men. Yet I've been on panels where young women really believe that white women helped them during the days of suffrage. I had to point out historically that a lot of Black men created businesses, dentists, doctors, factories, reed brooms, and hired Black women, pulled Black women in. Yet and still, we have Madam C.J. Walker movie make it seem like this guy who actually owned 2 newspapers, the St. Louis and the Denver newspaper, did not use his money to help Madam C.J. Walker, whose real name is Sarah Breedlove, take over an industry. Well, how did she take it over? Because she was Madam C.J. Walker, because according to several books written, he had to convince her to do her hair products. She still wanted to do that stuff that what's the name was doing, the other lady she was taken from. So my point in saying all this is to say that the unfortunate thing for men trying to correct the community, we have to say and do some things that women are not going to like because it comes across as anti-male. We're going to have to uplift men like Mr. C.J. Walker and tell the truth and say, no, he was actually a businessman before he even met Sarah. And go against some of these female narratives of putting the man down like he's a buffoon. One of the first women to fly across the Atlantic, the black female, she was bankrolled by a popular Black male newspaper man. See, everywhere in history, we've always been helping Black women. But for some reason, it's been popular for some 80%, 70% of Black women, 70, to be anti-male. So when we come back with some type of force, when we come back having these conversations, it's kind of like when I was on Fox Soul and I had to glorify a Black woman who did some great things against the government. And at the same time, glorify some Black men who did some great things. We are supposed to be a community that operates together. And that goes to Nameless Procrastinate's MP's point. But we're not doing that because every time a Black male comes up, lady, you know who tries to kill me? It ain't one of you women. It's a Black woman apologist, a guy who wants to please black women, who wants to attack black men to get black woman approval. And what's going to have to happen? We're going to have to get rid of those dudes. BMT, what are your thoughts before the ladies chime in on my terrible advice? Go ahead, BMT.
Just being honest about it, like the women are now starting to become the high earners of our community, as well as the getting to the judicial, social, and economic pools. Men are now no longer the voice. It's actually the women, and now that they're so far in the forefront, only thing that is why whenever it comes to looking at these changes, it honestly is going to be because women have to maintain a culture that men build. Well, the men have been pushed out of the culture, felt like they've been pushed out of this culture. So now it's the women, and we're asking them, are you going to turn over the baton? Are you going to hand over the mantle? And that's something fair to ask. We hear a lot, well, men do this, men do that, and that's fair. But at no time, could we really write a law that without having to go get permission from the white man? At no time can we honestly say that we really could run something or have a total control of our own culture without having to go get a civil rights bill passed by a white man. Even for George Washington Carver, one of the smartest men in black society, they castrated him just so that way he could have the right, to invent and design things. A lot of these brothers, they understood the cause. When we look at a lot of these things that are happening, especially for the prison system or different things that are happening, I want to be honest to you, like black men have not really gotten that fair of a shake. Do we? Is it intended for us to hate our own? No, but we understand that not everybody is going to be allowed to make it. And so if you really want a society to make it, I honestly tell women, like, are you willing to pass the baton back to the men? If you're not willing to pass the baton back to the men, then the conversation really is not going to go anywhere. It's just not. So we see this happening right now. No other culture has given their go ahead. No other culture has ever given the baton to their women. Black men weren't allowed to choose, well, who we want to get the baton to. We just never had the baton since we've been here. So we got to ask ourselves, when people say, well, at one time we were in control of what? What? Yeah, I would honestly ask anybody, what in history has the black man for 100% since he's been here in the U.S. has he ever fully been in control of without having to go to deal with that white man?
So the black man has controlled several things, but he's always been killed.
Oh, well, I guess we couldn't have never been in control. If you're going to say, if you're going to say, I've been in control, but I've been killed off, then that means I've never really been in control of anything. Because then I would be able to dish out my own brand of justice.
I was at Stanford. We were having a conversation at Stanford like a year and a half ago, and I made this discussion on stage. I said, the thing that many American women have to understand, they are trying to muffle those warriors who are competing against other cultures of men. But then when those men have killed off the black guy who invented sugar, he ran that industry. The guy who invented the first car before Henry Ford, They ran him out. When guys get killed off, the guy who started Tulsa, Oklahoma, leaving to create that, when they kill off these guys, the women are left defenseless, meaning that all the talk, and I know I'm ruffling feathers, I apologize to the chat room and Facebook, but all the talk that some 70% of women do, now that Charlie's dead and you was talking against Charlie, now you can do your own thing, but now you're up against men who might kill you too. And then all of a sudden you get quiet. The same energy you had against Charlie, being a black man, doing it, you didn't approve. Now that Charlie's dead, and now here you are with your same talking points. You don't want to say nothing to Israel Eisenhower. You only have smoke for Charlie. So you heard what BMT said. You heard what I said. Ladies, educate me. What are your thoughts?
Well, actually, me and Love Wisdom, we were having a talk behind the scenes of something similar to what you were saying, Mr. Research. And I do agree, but it was mostly when I was talking about Black women and our lack of trust of Black male leadership. And I went and I used a example with Love Wisdom of what it would probably look like. And it's something like what you said. There's actually a case study of it. Just look at the projects and bear with me for a second before anybody cuts in. If anybody has ever been to any project in any major city, who do you see running those projects? Exactly. And it's not what you think. It's not the women. Okay, it's not the children, it's the men running those projects. And see, this is what I told people a long time ago. When we first got those projects, there were women that moved into those projects. Those projects were actually very nice. Those projects actually, when they were first built, they looked like condos when they were first built. They were actually very nice when they were first built. But then when the women start getting with the men in the community and moving the men into the projects, all of a sudden the men took over the projects, and what they turned the projects into was a hellhole.
Let me just interject real quick.
Well, no. Let me finish. Now, it's not like there weren't any good men living in those projects, okay? There were some men living in those projects that, were working, and they would come home and they would, provide for their families and so on and so forth. And those guys were the guys that were bucking up against these gangsters, the guys that eventually did end up taking over the projects. They were bucking up against them. And you found a lot of these guys were run out of the projects, or as you stated, they were killed. They got rid of them so that they could, pretty much leave the women and the children defenseless so that they can do what they wanted to do. Now, fast forward to redlining. When they tore down the projects, they did the middle class Black communities a disservice, because they sent those men and those women with that project mentality into those middle class communities where upright men who were head of their households and taking care of their families live. What did they do when they got to those communities? Just what you said, Mr. Research. They ran those men out of those communities and killed off the rest of them. And then those communities turned into rough neighborhoods because those men took over. So if you're talking about what Black women can contribute to bettering society, I don't think you need to be asking Black women. You need to be asking Black men what they want. I'm done.
So I was going to interject to say that we have Republicans have put a bill on the floor to legally fine anybody, mother, dad, girlfriend, harboring criminals. If a criminal with a warrant is at your home, you'll be legally fined if that bill gets a chance to pass. Go ahead, Robbie.
Well, I think that bill is crazy because you don't often know if somebody has a warrant. Sometimes people don't even know if they have a warrant until they're arrested. But I want us to take a look at also the sleazy black men in the community. You know, the black men that come pretending like they want to help and they want to see you grow and advance, but they really just want an entanglement. That has also contributed greatly to the decline of black male leadership in the black community. I mean,
Yes.
even Martin Luther King had mistresses. So when you have these men that are pretending to be one thing in public, but deep down inside, they just want to get over. And women are woke. We know that that's the case, and we know that that's what's going on. It makes black women be like, you know what? I can't really trust them. And even from all the conversations that we hear in all of these spaces, what does the conversation resolve to? It resolves to sexual interaction. Oh, I should be able to have sex with whatever woman I want to. And I see that CERSR00 said, why is there no talk about good men? The same reason that there's no talk about good women. We're talking about the 70 or so percent of men that are the majority that are not doing right. See, the same things apply for the black woman as it does for the black men. There's a portion of us that are doing the right thing. There's a portion of us that are doing the wrong thing. That pendulum swings both ways. And when we're talking about usury, it is usually the men that are using women, as Faith said, using them for access. Because what Faith also didn't say when she was talking about the projects is people that were selling drugs would get the single mother in the projects and use her house as a dope spot or a stash spot, like kind of how they did with Breonna Taylor. And then the woman winds up getting in a whole mess of trouble because she's just trying to do something to make some income. Ultimately, we have to, each of us, start choosing people that are on the same life path that we're on. But when it comes down to black male leadership, I'm just super confused why black men keep needing a baton to be passed to them. Like when Genghis Khan had his whole family killed, he didn't wait for anybody to tell him that it was okay for him to get his leadership and his power back. He set out on a mission and he wound up conquering nations. When Marcus Aurelius was in control, he didn't wait for anybody to pass that to him. He went out and he conquered things. I need black men to stop waiting for somebody to tell them that it's okay to be leaders. And if you want to be leaders, just stand up and be leaders. I'm done.
So for me, and I'm gonna ask BMT. So for me, that's why for me, I back that bill to give people a fine for having people with warrants. My thing is, as a dude from the hood who did sell dope, I was always amazed at the guys who hid behind women in order to do what they did, which goes kind of like to Faith's point. You never could get these dudes, even when you out there trying to shoot them, because they hiding behind a woman. They running into a woman's house. It's or the woman coming to you begging for this idiot's life for something he created. And you like, tell your son, don't even come around here. Tell your son, stop stealing. Tell your son, we don't want to see him on the block. Yet you over here crying. So I hear Raw B's point on guys just take over. And this comes to that arrogant thing again. Sometimes I think in order to change this community, and this goes to the nameless protagonist, in order to bring a culture back, guys are going to have to be unpopular and make unpopular decisions. But BMT, what is this pass the baton? Why not just put your foot down and say, here, take this protection and step to the side while I move down the street.
Honestly, to be able to do that, I'm gonna tell you the best way we would have to just go about and kill every man and woman that honestly has that ideology. That honestly be the best way to honestly deal with it.
I said that already. We got to kill off the opponent.
You would have to just kill every last one of them. like just kill them all off. And honestly, like that would be it. Every Yummy, every little Pookie, every little Brianna, every last one of them that sympathizes with them, you would have to just kill them all off. And then after that, you could just honestly just that. I mean, I'm telling you what other cultures do. They just kill off the rejects and put them in a position where they can't ever get up close to them.
That's
So,
the only way the kids can grow, though.
Well, no, they even bastardize their kids to let them know you are that bastard of this so and so criminal.
Oh yeah,
So
China did that a lot.
Yes, China does that all the time. That's why they are the way they are. So yeah, I would do that. You know, back in the day, they used to let you know your mom was on crack, you're a crack baby. They would shame that child. You know, that child.
I think shaming is very good amongst men.
Shaming language was very powerful back in the day.
Yeah,
because then the other people knew, oh shit, I don't want to be like this person. You don't want to be a Sukihana. But see, nowadays you got it where, you know, that's the cool. That's what's in. You know, that's honestly, this is where we're at now. You know, they want to be part of that type of energy, and so when they do, I say, you know what, play stupid games, get stupid prizes. You know, I'm over. We're a little bit over that level now.
Thank you for these two intellectual ladies building with us. Go ahead and wrap that up so I can ask them.
Only thing, so like I said, if a man wants to get with a woman with kids, that's your choice. That's your choice. But understand, you're going to be dealing with an opposing culture. If she's willing to the minute she tell you some stuff like, you can be my man, but you'll never be my children's father, then I'll be like, all right, then get out.
Jesus Christ.
Get out. But I already see you trying to tell me rules to my house, then you need to get the hell on out. Because we're not playing that game.
So, ladies, what do you think about the part where we answered the question as two guys? And thank you for building with us. I think it's good for the family out there to see people not argue, but just have different views and get along. Ladies, what do you think about our way of thinking? BMT is a military guy. He's a warrior. I practice Bushido. I'm a warrior. I compete with white folks all week long. What do you think about our idea of just get rid of those who are not producing and the women who protect them? Ladies, dearest.
Yeah, so I don't really think we should kill everybody, but again, I could understand the thought process. I just, you know, it's not my nature to really, you know, wanna.
No, I got that.
You know, that sounds like kind of Hitler-esque.
Let's take the slaughter off the table. Politically, through city council, fine people to the point where they're scared to be around a criminal that's black.
Yeah, I would agree with that, but I think that there would have to be some way to prove culpable.
True. There needs to be some mechanisms in there.
Well, I don't know. Me personally, I've always said I'm all for the purge.
Right.
I just feel like you know, if you make examples of these Yummies and Breonna Taylors, because people are not stupid. See, the thing about it is these Yummies and these Breonna Taylors, they do what they do because they know they can get away with it. But if they knew that death was surely coming, that is one sure way to get somebody to act right real fast. Because people are not stupid. They just know what they can get away with. And if you had that little that final, you know, make that example, hey, this is the example. This is what's gonna happen to you if you bring that BS over here. Oh, they'll get in line, they'll straighten up real fast. Because
You gotta,
they see a lot of times people don't understand you talking to them or throwing them in prison. They understand that graveyard though.
I had a guy over here, 2015. I moved back to California, and he was over here breaking in cars, and he had broken into my car the week prior, right? And I work at night. Sometime at that time I was working at night. Sometime I would come home for 2-3 hours sleep and then go back to work. And I heard something crashing. I pulled out my gat, went out there. This dude is in my neighbor's car. I said, "Man, sit your ass down." He sat. He got down. He saw the gun. He got down, and I called the police. And I said, "No, you're gonna sit right there." And then the police came. You know, I tossed the weapon in the tall grass. I ain't want to even explain that. And said, "Yeah, man, this dude up here stealing, blah blah blah. Here go the evidence. That's broken. Probably got something in his bag." And the dude said to me, "Faith, man, don't do me like this, brother." I said, "Oh, no, sir. I'm going to press charges and I'm going to appear at every one of your court dates without question. I'm going to take off just to appear at your court date." Never saw that dude again. And that just goes to what you guys said a moment ago. Sometimes we got to set the example. Ladies, before we go back to BMT.
Yeah, I think men definitely need to set the example. And I don't know. I think that like instead of spending a whole bunch of time talking about like relationships, I think we need to start just talking about how to build wealth, how to build equity, how to build income and have power, because that is how you change a cultural society. We get so caught up in what each sex is not doing that we're missing the point. Neither one of us are really ascertaining true power. First you get the money, then you get the power, and then you get the respect, and everything else falls into place. When we have enough men that are not in these streets slinging drugs, that are not committing crimes or don't have to sling drugs or commit crime in order to have a viable career and be able to provide for their families, we'll see leadership. Because what a lot of people also don't speak about is the stress that people that are criminals and that have to sell drugs, that they're consistently under. Clearly they feel they don't have a choice or they don't have any other prospects to do better. So they have to put themselves in danger every day in order to provide food, clothing, shelter for their families, which then gives them, they wind up having to self-medicate with alcohol and drugs in order to deal with the choices they're making to, have some type of viable life, which makes them unstable and makes their interactions with their families non-existent. So it's a cyclical discussion. When are we going to talk about power? And the 30% of men that are really doing their thing need to show how high value they are and create systems and create create infrastructure, take over politics so that Black men can really have a voice.
So let me stop right there. So I'm in these political places out here in Northern California. Here's what I have seen, and both of you ladies chime in, because again, I'm here to learn. Most of those you call 30% of men in power are trying to stop other Black men from having power so that only women can have power. I'm telling you, that's what I'm saying. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that if men are feeling that women are trying to stop them from having power.
No. It's not women. I give y'all credit. It's not y'all doing it. It's Black men trying to stop other Black men from having power so that only women in the Black community have power.
Maybe the Black men that are trying to stop certain things see a longer game and they see the potential detriment to giving power to Black men. There's a quote that says absolute power corrupts absolutely. So if Black men, as it stands right now, are trying to disavow, disregard, abandon children find excuses, and consistently blame Black women, how would that exponentially increase if Black men have all the power?
Interesting. Faith, your thoughts?
It's the young classic crabs in the barrel mentality. They're up at the top, but they don't want to reach back and pull anybody else up with them because they are, jealous. They don't want no other men at the top shining with them. So it's perfectly fine for them to pull the women up because they're sleeping with these women. They're making negotiations with these women behind the scenes for, some vicarious propositions. Who knows? But yeah, that's what I think is really going on. I think that there's other type of propositions going on, and that's the reason why they're more willing to work with women than men, unless they're not heterosexual. But that's what I see most of the time. I see a lot of transactions, entanglements going on, and then women like Kamala Harris moving up.
It's a very funny thing because I spoke to 3 different 100 Black men of Chicago, Oakland, and Atlanta. The Oakland office does the most for Black boys in the entire nation that I've seen. The other people are giving money that was supposed to go to boys. They're giving it mostly to girls. I don't know how many times I've seen the Chicago branch and the Atlanta branch give out checks to girls for college or what have you. And 100 Black women, there is one, does only girls also. They don't do nothing for Black boys at all. So I think it's so I cursed out one of the leads at the Chicago branch when I was out visiting Milwaukee because I was passing through Chicago, and I was just so upset. I was like, this money is supposed to go for boys, and you guys do nothing for Black boys other than show them how to tie a tie and put on some blazers. You don't show them about resumes. You don't have no work training, front desk work training, none of that. But the money that comes in, you guys, 80% of it goes to girls. That's ridiculous. What are your thoughts, Faith, on the money going to girls when it's the 100 Black men?
Okay, I'm sorry, I was on speaker. My mic was off. Well, that's just it. I don't know why an organization would fund little girls more than they fund little boys when little boys are actually the ones that need the funding, in my opinion, the most. That right there, I couldn't even answer for you, to be honest with you. I don't know what the thought process is or what the end game is behind that.
Robbie, what are your thoughts before we move back over to this topic?
Honestly, I feel that, again, this speaks to the 30% of Black men that are out here doing their thing, starting their own leadership. If I'm very sad that Black boys are not getting funding that is allocated for them. But then that means we need to have Black men running those programs to make sure that the funds are being allocated appropriately. And it's funny because me and my homegirl are always having this conversation because, we're mothers that have daughters and sons. It's funny how our society kind of coddles our boys, but doesn't prepare them. But we prepare our girls and we push them out the door. Girls are pushed out the door. As soon as they hit 18, you got to go. Boys can live with their mothers forever, but that's a whole nother video about like the inappropriate relationships between women and their sons versus women and their daughters. But this is another situation, the scenario that you described, where women are given money and they're taught how to kind of be financially accountable. Whereas like how you said, boys are taught just how to look nice. And isn't that such a juxtaposition in the society? Our children are being shifted in their gender. And that's really, really scary.
That's true, Robbie. And then also, you just made me think of something else. It could also be as far as them putting the funding towards the girls, as far as you know, intellectual opportunities. Perhaps maybe it's because we look at our boys in the light of maybe just sports and, you know, just their physical abilities and not their intellectual abilities.
I do agree. I see far too many mothers pushing their son into these like ridiculous dreams. Like when the odds are that only 1% of a whole entire population is going to make it into a profession. Yeah, you may, if your child has a natural ability or affinity for a sport or whatever, you may encourage that. But there also should be a push for the educational aspect, because all it takes, even for that 1% of athletes, is one injury and their career is over. And a lot of those athletes are left with nothing if they didn't develop a firm foundation in education. So I completely agree.
So with that said, I do want to push this forward. I will say again, I am in those political circles, those power circles, and it's not women stopping a lot of black male progress. It is black males who are apologists to women. It is black males who are apologists to women going out of their way, using thousands of dollars to stop black sons from having anything. So don't blame women. I'm in those circles and I'm telling you, it's black dudes.
Right,
And
but that goes to what me and Faith were saying earlier about how some men in the black community utilize positions of power and gifts and whatever to get themselves into entanglements. So it's like, hey, young thing, let me give you this check from this foundation for $1,000, and then meet me in my car in the back parking lot later on today, and you know what I'm saying, do something strange for a little piece of change. So we need men like you, and you know what I'm saying, the men that you run with, to create situations and take over.
well, I told somebody on Fox, so I know the more that I gain in popularity and try to help black sons without needing to diminish women. I'm just looking past that. Women need their own leaders, their own situation going on, because I think grandma's dead and great grandma's tied up in the basement, and the new grandma is 15 years old. So women have to start policing women. But as far as guys, the more I help black sons, I think the more somebody's going to try to assassinate me, and it's going to be somebody that looks like me. It ain't. It's the weirdest thing to observe. Let me move on and say this. SAC sent out a message early. What things are men expecting? Look, and we'll have the ladies disagree if they choose to. As an established man, I'm going to tell you, I have property to protect. That's my first concern, my legacy of my last name, even before she comes along. This is my thought process. And that goes back to anything you want to say regarding Boaz or even Moses and Zipporah. Your legacy as a guy is more important. But I realize many women don't look at what guys look at. They have a different theory. But my expectation is that. Now, the lower level dudes, ladies, for the ladies listening, the lower level dudes are just looking to bust a nut. One way you can find out a lower level dude, ask him what industry is he in. Ask him questions that a family man would have to answer. Ask him, does he know things about the landscape? Ask him, does he know things about how to grow and how to cultivate? Ask him if he knows things. Take him out of what he normally does. If he's a construction guy, don't talk about construction. Talk about crisis conflict. Does he know stuff about? Now, this might seem over the top or corny to you, but when you're a guy trying to be a husband, you need to be well versed on mouth discipline and being able to hold these conversations. Ladies, what are your thoughts on my suggestions?
Absolutely. I love that. Oh my God. Like
Yes.
you're not a whole person if you can't talk to anybody about anything. People always say it's like stupid to want to learn a little bit about everything, but you kind of need to. You never know what situations you're going to be in, where that little nugget of information that you've retained can elevate your whole situation just because you're able to open up a dialogue with someone.
And also, like he said, discipline is key. You know, if a man is not disciplined, if the man does not know where he's going in his own life, and he does not know how to discipline himself as far as sex is concerned, you know, he has to know, you know, when to cut the tap off on that and get back to business. You know, that's very important. So yeah, I agree with everything that you just said here. You know,
All right.
discipline, discipline, discipline.
All right. We may disagree with this next one. Mr. Sir says the main relationship is between the man and the woman, not the children. That is incorrect to me. To me, that is slave plantation thinking. Outside of America, I lived outside of America for 4 years in several different countries. This is why I think the way I think. Legacy and last name is more important than your marriage. This is how the rest of the world operates. I know here in America we're different, and I know Black America is different, but I disagree with Sir on this. Your legacy for your children is way more important. Even if you're a woman, your legacy to your children is way more important than your connection to the husband, because your children get to benefit maybe not from your last name, but from all of your hard work. You see, Black community, to me, and the ladies may disagree, but to me, you on the block doing dirt so that your family can do better, not to fall in love with doing dirt. You're out here selling keys so that you can get your family to be right, not to continue selling keys. You get up here and you take a job that you don't really like as a man so that your son and daughter can have an easier ride, not so you can just shine. When we look at other cultures, they got mansions, but they got a basic car. When we look at other cultures, they got a hell of a car, but they got a little scrub of a house. You should see how some of these white folks live, driving around in these nice cars y'all see them in. Their house is so basic. Then you go to the other end of it, the old money people, the house is immaculate, and they got a 69 Volvo. When I was working out at Microsoft in Bellevue years ago, the owner, Bill Gates, driving it was 1991, 92, and he had a 1974 Volvo. He ain't had no elaborate cars. Really didn't care. Was in corduroys all the time. Corduroys and plaid shirts. I don't think I never saw that guy. But when I worked at Mindspring, the same thing with Mr. Brewer. Mr. Brewer, he had a three-legged dog. Three-legged dog used to sit on my foot all the time. He had a three-legged dog. He had the smallest office in the building. We would ask him, why is that? He said, man, you guys come first. And that's the mentality you got to have as a husband or even a wife to me. These children are more important than us. The man and the woman is not the number one concern. I disagree with that. Men, you should care about your sons more than you care about women. And I think that women, you should care about the connection with your son and daughter more than you care about some of these penises out here. But to each their own. I'm about to learn and hear what the ladies got to say.
But that goes back to the earlier conversation about how when a man is entertaining a single woman, that he has to win over the kids. Because as me and Space both stated, like the kids, she had to have that. The kids are the tie that binds. And if the kids aren't feeling the vibe of the situation, if they're unable to thrive, it is a woman's job to say peace out to the dude. You know, and legacy, I'm always talking about legacy. Legacy wealth is the most important thing you can ever do. And I agree, because when I worked in the jails, my boss, and I was a supervisor, my boss had money. He was there for a good 30 years. And he had a beat up Subaru as well, running around in Wrangler jeans and some old basic, I won't say they're Shacks because I don't think Shacks were out there, but you know what I'm saying, some Payless sneakers, and he was living his best life. We have to stop wearing our wealth, which is why when people say to me, "Oh, well, you don't have on makeup. Oh, well, you're not dressed up every day." Dress up every day for what? For what? I don't
Yeah,
have. You don't
yeah,
have to show who you are. When you have it,
absolutely.
you're comfortable in the skin you're in.
That's why it's called going out on the town. That's why it's called our town car. That's why it's called night out. So you can have those options to do those things. One thing about the community that I think Raw B is trying to say, there's a point in time for everything, but you shouldn't be at the office in skin tight skirts. Well, I mean, what for? What is the point here? Are we doing business or what? Or are we selling something? Uh,
Selling something, all right.
Clarence said we can't stand by and do nothing because we have been killed off. We have to continue to create new strategies and victories, even if it means leaving the country. No. So here's the thing, Clarence. I'm a world traveler. Leaving the country does nothing for you, sir. You have no flag. You have no flag. The only thing you're able to do is rely on the kindness of others in these countries. Let me give you an example, Clarence. When COVID happened, here's Raw B living in China. She's black. And this actually happened to quite a few black people living in China. Raw B done paid, got a contract to teach English to the Chinese children. Raw B got a apartment paid for the whole year. You know what those Chinese people did? Here's your stuff on the lawn. Get out. You had black people walking the streets for 3-4 months talking about this ain't fair. You don't have a flag. You're not going to go to another country and do nothing but rely on them not to run you out. But be warned, there's plenty of black people who have done well. And the minute you start doing well, here comes somebody and they take you out or run you out and give everything you work for to their children.
And then I say that a few weeks ago, CA, this high value talk is nonsense because we as a people are not high value. We have to establish power. This is a game of chess. And a lot of black people should actually sit down and learn how to play and learn the fundamentals. Because at the end of the day, you only get smarter by playing a smarter opponent. So if you don't even know how to play the game, you're always going to lose.
Now, I do believe in high value, but it is a term, not an actualization. And Robbie, I believe, is talking about actualization. There is no actualization on the term high value because you don't have a flag. So with that, I agree. When it comes to the term only regulated to dating, I believe it has value because we're talking about a position of life. And what I never understood, Robbie, and I guess this is a good time to ask you, this would be one of my Instagram clips. Why is it more women consider higher level guys boring when the 50-50 guys and the low level guys is the one that they keep failing with?
Because they cannot compete where they can't compare.
Explain, please, so I can learn.
So, okay, if you know good and well that a man can provide a home, this, that, and the third, have all the money, do whatever, in this weird society that we have right now, women are challenged when they may have to, bow down or, let the man have his way. Some women really can't handle that. And they need the security to be able to say, well, if it doesn't work out and he's not doing what I like, I can just walk out the door. When you become accustomed to living a certain type of lifestyle, you have to change your mindset, because if you're living well and your husband doesn't like something and you keep doing it, you ain't going to be living that well. And then there's the fall back to Hamburger Helper. It's real hard to go back to Hamburger Helper when you're used to eating filet mignon. So people self-sabotage.
You know, my ex-fiance, all I ever wanted her to do was give great BJs and cook. I tolerated a lot of stuff that my ex-fiance did. Couldn't cook a lick, wouldn't even try. I said, you know, let's crack open a cookbook together. No, I bake. That's all I do. Well, babe, all you do is bake pound cake. I mean, come on. So now when we're in the middle of discussions, here I am evaluating. I can get this anywhere.
Now I have a question for you. If you know what your absolute minimum is in a woman, and she didn't meet those requirements, why did you put a ring on her finger?
Okay. So at that time, I was not as well educated as I am now, but I was 50% there. I really cared about the person, and like most men, and I'm defending men here, like most men, I really cared about the person, and like most men, I wanted, in hopes that she would understand that her actions were sideways. And that's the fault of men. We should not be in a position where we're putting ourselves into work with her concept. There should be no work with her concept. Either she's ready or she's not. Does that answer your question?
Exactly. And that's the point. So I'm so glad you said that. Men and women need to understand, if you're working with somebody, you're settling. Do not settle. People either got it or they don't. It's just like with stars. If you go into an audition, right, the casting director is going to look at you. They're going to say, okay, do you look the part? You look the part, okay, cool. Were you able to pull off the scene? Were you able to give the range of an emotion? If you weren't able to do that, they're not going to say, oh, well, they have potential. Let's work with them. They're about their money. They're going to say next. And that's what we all need to be doing. If somebody's not going to fit that role that you need in your life, swipe left.
I don't know if you saw my video where I said I don't date regular women. I only date doctors, lawyers, CFOs, admin assistants. I don't date women who I have to convince or I'm going to have to help if something was to ever go left. If you're in cosmetology and you're renting a chair, my question is to you, how long you been doing cosmetology? Oh, 3 years, and you ain't found yourself a little boutique of your own to where you can save that rental fee? You ain't doing it out of your house and just have clients come over so you can stop paying taxes? No, you've done none of that. And they say, CA, well, you can help her. No. And you ladies shouldn't either. Don't get with these dudes that you gotta help. Stop doing that. People should be able to self-maintain on their own and elevate. But let me go.
The resentments when you have to keep helping people, then people start resenting each other, and that's why these relationships don't work.
Exactly. So to a lot of single women out there, I tell you, make sure that the person you're getting with is self-maintained. Let's go to this next question because I got a lot of chat stuff to catch up with, and BMT is back. Why is there no talk about good men? Well, here's my answer. Raw answered hers earlier when you said this, sir. I'm way back in the chat. There's no talk about good men because this is an anti-black male community. This is an anti-black male community. Now, Faith and Raw said earlier, there's no talk about good women either. Fair concept. I'm gonna let BMT get on this next one. I don't think we run the projects, but it's our responsibility to push the culture for you. Sir, I'm a former dope dealer, former pimp. We as black males do run it. I don't see how you don't see that. So when I was on the block, my biggest competition as a 16-year-old dude was a 30 and 40-year-old man selling drugs. They had a team of workers. Sir, we run the projects. BMT? Short version, BMT?
Well, I mean, like I said, there's going to be a separation. I mean, honestly, that's just how I see it. It's going to
Oh,
be.
I told you 3 years ago, the great separation is here. It's going to be a caste system. The Indians are going to start implementing. You're going to start seeing people be judged by the title that they hold. Nobody's going to care about get the bag and how much money you make. Indians are going to see to that. They are going to start draining out black people who just make money. It's going to be all about right now, sir, BMT, and maybe let's see how you respond to BMT. Right now, you have Indian women trying to pick off brothers like me and the high value brothers. I've been approached 3 times within 5 years by families trying to get their scallywag daughter, non-producer, to link up with me. Pretty to look at. What are your thoughts on that, BMT?
I mean, honestly,
only because of my title. It's not about me.
Only because of your title, it's not about you. Well, then, I mean, they're looking at you for a resource. I mean,
exactly.
It's just about a resource.
What are your thoughts, Raw?
Oh yeah, they're definitely looking for resources, and I don't really blame them. And I think that black women need to be grooming their daughters for men that have titles in relationships. I don't think a lot of black women are really grooming their daughters on how to be a wife because they don't know how to. You know what I'm saying? Or how to be with a man that is busy and that is working because they don't really know that life. And I'm going to tell you, ladies, if you want a man that is successful, he is going to be busy. If you want a man that is going to be attentive, he is not going to be a successful man because men that are making money don't necessarily have time to cater to every little emotional need or outburst or breakdown that you have going on. You have to be able to self-soothe.
So let's go into this next question. Start with BMT. Here's my assessment, BMT. Broke Genius, who I hopefully will come on one day. The problem is ghetto culture is sold as cool. Well, guess what? Every time we try to sell professional as cool, you know what we're told? You don't need no suit. Okay, that's fair. Every time we try to sell professional culture as cool, here comes the women. It's okay. It's okay. Don't let that man shame you. You'll be good one day. We have to bring shame back. How are you over 28 and you're not a supervisor, you're not a manager, and you're not an owner? What the hell? Educate me, BMT. Maybe I'm wrong. Short version.
Yeah, I don't have no answer for that, Mr. Research. I mean, honestly, I guess you got to understand when there's no women can't teach a man how to be a man. They can't. I hear that enough. I hear that enough all the time. They can't. They're trying, but they can't. You got to have a father in the home, instruct them probably how to maneuver, and literally, they're trying, and literally it's starting to break down. A lot of men are having a hard time competing because they don't understand how to properly compete against other men. Women maneuver in their stations. Men men just do what they can just to get by. But that's all I got for today.
Raw.
um. So yeah, I definitely agree that women can't raise men, and I definitely agree that men can't raise women. Like you can physically raise them, but as far as teaching them everything you need, nah, you can't. And I agree. At a certain point in life, you should have your career established, unless like you had the unfortunate luck to be incarcerated and do some prison time. But even in prison, you're afforded education, and if you're not a career felon, you can get felonies expunged off your record. Like we live, I know people don't really care for America and all of its policies or whatever, but there are a lot of things that you can do to get yourself out of sticky situations. You have to have the fortitude, the wherewithal, and the knowledge. And I think a lot of people just don't take time to educate themselves. So then they use the you know,
You better
crutch.
stop. You better stop pronunciating over here.
Yes, they use the crutches of these situations to put them in a perpetual state of post-traumatic stress disorder and to not achieve and to be a victim. We have to stop being victims, men and women. Period.
Okay, so Sir asked me, do I have a word Smith? Swordsmith. Let me go with OB. I'm almost through these chats. You don't have to kill anyone. You only have to courage to culturally separate. Separate does nothing. What is this separate? Separate does nothing. You don't have a flag. And this is probably it seemed like an African name. This is an African person who's more than likely telling me something, and they always have a flag to rely on. Separating makes you weaker. Let's talk power for a minute, Raw.
Okay.
Separating makes you weaker. I have to. Everything operates on groups. Independent people are only currently winning. They never used to win before the internet. Am I incorrect?
You are correct. You are. And I mean, have you ever heard of the bundle of sticks fable?
No. Educate me.
Okay. So there's an Aesop's fable, and it's called the bundle of sticks. And I'm just going to read it to you. It's a short one. A certain father had a family of sons who were forever quarreling amongst themselves. No words he could say did the least good. So he cast about in his mind for some very striking example that should make them see that discord would lead them to misfortune. One day when the quarreling had been much more violent than usual and each of the sons was moping in a surly manner, he asked one of them to bring him a bundle of sticks. Then handing the bundle to each of his sons in turn, he told them to try to break it. But although each one tried his best, none was able to do so. The father then untied the bundle and gave the sticks to his son to break one by one. This they did very easily. My son, said the fathers, do you not see how certain it is that if you agree with each other and help each other, it will be impossible for your enemies to injure you. But if you are divided amongst yourself, you will be no stronger than a single stick in that bundle. And the underlying lesson is, in unity is strength. So when we're talking about separating and casting people aside, no, we need to be like a pack of wolves. We need to have our alpha males bringing up the rear to push along the sick and the elderly. We need to have our strong women in the front to lead the way through. See, we're not protecting each other as a whole. We're just picking each other apart. And what we're doing is making visible targets for our enemies.
Actually, absolutely. Now, I will say, in the wolf culture, my dear, the women actually bring up the rear and they snipe at the heels of the old and the young to move them along, and it's actually the guys who are at the forefront. But I understand.
You're right. I'm sorry, I didn't misstate that. You're right.
Now, sir asked me, did I have a swordsmith, someone to craft my sword? No, my sword was given to me years ago, and I haven't had a sword recreated or have a sword done. Roby, she like, hell no, I won't have any friends after they kill them off. Friends? Interesting. Again, I'm way behind in the chat. Let the chips fall. Damn it, who needs to replace the 9-volt battery in their smoke detector? Oh, somebody was doing something in the background. I'm trying to catch up, Raw B. I got so interested in what you and Faith was saying, I neglected the chat.
It's hard. It's hard to do the show and do the chat too.
Yeah. I don't see a lot of brothers going to school, but I do see sisters. So let me tell you about that going to school thing. So a lot of when you open up the grant book in college, it has a lot of money for parentheses women only. Do you think that's fair, Robbie?
Yes, because they also have a lot of grants for left-handed people only. They also have a lot of grants for Native American Indians. And
True.
I think they do have grants for men as well.
None for men.
Are you sure?
None. So here's the problem. Scholarships and grants don't normally have the parentheses thing. But men give back money just for women. Women give back money just for women. And men have to fight with what's left over. That's the regular grants and scholarships that have to be left over. Because mind you, a woman can fight for the woman only grant and fight the guy for a grant or scholarship. There are not that many situations. Boys have to get donated money. They have to win tests and all that type of stuff. Before I move on, actual fact.
I just found 25 grants for Black male students only.
Say it again.
I just found 25 great scholarships for young Black men.
Put that in the chat room, because I guarantee it does not say parentheses Black men. I guarantee it's just the grant that Black men can apply for. But please put
I just shared the screen with you.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, I would have to actually see the grant, because what ends up happening is I was told that there was a bunch of grants for men, but it was just stuff that anybody could apply to. So I guess my point is there's a difference between anybody can apply to it and it's for Black men. But I understand your point. I want to look into that. I'm going to check it out later. Actual factual. Give me your quick thoughts so I can go ahead and get some more of this chat in. 60 seconds. Actual factual. What are your thoughts?
Good afternoon, research. And to Sister Raw B. I'm sorry.
That woman. Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, that's what you wanted to say. Come on. Let's get it.
Real very quickly, I'll let you go to the chat. I think that there's not entirely enough women hand-wringing other women, Black women. I think in general, women in American society, but Black women in particular, there's not a lot. And so I think that's what deficit you're kind of seeing, the brain drain that we're seeing right now. Of course, do men have to, there's some things we can improve on. Of course, yes. There's always things men have to improve on. There's always some more of it, that we have. And so, but I don't think there's entirely enough of Black women, telling Black women as far as yoga and all type of other things, finishing classes, just all these different things. I think there's some ancillary things that are happening, but it becomes a little peculiar when you start looking at the motivations and then who they're actually talking to as far as the audience, i.e. the pink pill. And I'll let you go ahead, sir, from there.
All right. So we covered this early. Children are the key to generational, at least the Chinese do believe so. Oh well, golly, y'all been chatting it up. Sure, I hope y'all hit the like button. Okay, I'm almost at the end. I promise you. Ooh, it's been rocking and rolling. You had Sherelle pop over here. Oh, she said, "I see you, babe." Okay, one of your fans. Golly, look at that. Then came over here and represented. All right, so now I'm at the end. All right, so with that said, let's go back to this topic real quick, and so we can start finally finishing up. We've been on here for 2 hours. So, single mothers for me, Robbie, for me, have to understand that I have stuff to lose. And there has to be something amazing about what she's doing with her life. And I had to be able to see it from afar. I'm not the type of dude who's going to go after her just for beauty. I don't mind going after a pimple-faced girl with a brain. Do you understand what I'm saying, Robbie? I don't mind going after a girl who's a little bit chubby and I might be able to work with her with a brain. But at the end of the day, I have to have a very decent brain in your field. I don't think that's too much to ask. People always ask me why I'm not married, Robbie, and that's because I have to vet. I'm beyond just dating people. I'm not out here just to get sex. I could pay $100 and get some Egyptian sex. I could pay $200 and get some Norwegian sweetened sex. I don't value dating and sex like that. Dating for me leads to possible teammate, so we can economically take over this county. Am I too arrogant for the masses?
No, you're not, because honestly, I'm the same way. Like, it took 15 years for me to find my forever dude. But I'm going to tell you what, ladies, he didn't get the cookie off the bat. He had to earn it, deserve it. There was a lot of conversations. There was a lot of exploration into the psyche and the character of who he is and who I am. We had to explore each other to decide that was even a move we wanted to make. And I think we as a society do each other a disservice because sex is at the forefront of everything. Oh, well, you got a fat butt, so that means we got to have sex. No, you can let your eyes make you hungry. Get an appetite. It's about self-discipline.
Hold on. I see y'all in the chat. Let's have this discussion now.
Hold on.
Tricking. And sir, you need to email me so you can get the link. So what is your view on men who pay for sex?
Me?
Yeah.
If we're gonna be real about it,
Please be honest. Hey, look, take those gloves off.
Everybody pays.
Go ahead.
Everybody pays. You pay for sex if you going on a date and the outcome of your date is sex. You've paid that trick, Michael. Yeah, they don't want to hear all of that. Sorry, you guys. He told me that. But you're gonna pay if you're getting a woman's hair done, if you're getting her nails done, if you're buying her food, if you're buying her clothes. You're tricking. It's just, are you tricking to the point that you feeling like you're losing? You're not a John in the street. You ain't picking up a corner prostitute, but you paying some. And if you ain't, when you get diseases and stuff, then you know why, because the price is real cheap.
Actual factual. What are your thoughts?
Black booties matter, or highly melanated booties matter. I work out. I do all those things, and so of course, and have the intellectual, have those on point or getting them on point. So I expect that, and so I have standards, and so my brother, Mr. Research, he's a little longer in the tooth, and so he, I like all those things still. I know he does, but I'm a little younger, so I'm gonna like it a little bit more. It's gonna be a little bit, You know, it just is what it is. The youth. You know, I think Solomon talks about that. You know, the wife of your youth. So those things are still important to me. As far
Okay,
as
so
tricking, go ahead.
yeah, tricking. Yeah.
As far as tricking goes, you know, that's a every man. You know, that's kind of a we have so. I'm like this. To
Okay,
me,
hold on,
it,
hold on.
go ahead, go ahead.
You're just taking too long. Here's what it comes down to. And I want Cunningham to hear this. Sir is on the way up here. I'm still waiting for his email. Ladies and gentlemen, when a woman is having sex with somebody to get a meal, that's tricking. When a woman is having sex for somebody to get her rent paid, that's tricking. When a woman is having sex with somebody to get certain clothes or a car, that's tricking. And I'm going to tell you why you dudes don't like the term tripping. Remember, I'm a former pimp. You don't like tricking because you want to be able to say that you took advantage of this woman for free. Uh, 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 uh.
Not true.
You
Not
don't.
true.
Wait. When you
No,
go into the strip club and you throwing dollars at them girls on the stage, clapping them cheeks, though, that's tricky.
that's tricking.
It is, but
Any
that's not
place
true.
where you're giving money in the hopes of giving some sex, because mind you, the prostitute ain't obligated to give you no sex. Her pimp can bust in and take the prostitute away. You can do what you do, and she never show up. I mean, all type of stuff. So everybody tricks. Everybody. Your grandma used to trick. Everybody, but you dudes don't like hearing this word because you want to be saying, ha ha, I put my penis in your mouth for free. Let me go tell my homeboys. That's what you want. That's what you
It's like
want.
it's like trick or treat. Like they don't want to be the person being tricked. They just want to be the only person getting the treat. Nah, don't work that.
No,
Right.
nobody
But
wants. Nobody wants to be broke
let me
on.
just say this, factual,
Go
and I'm gonna
ahead.
let you loose. Let me just say this, and I'm gonna let you loose. Broke Genius, you need to come up too. Email me Cunningham and Broke Genius. All right, look, let me just say this, and I'm gonna let Factual do his thing. If sex is so important to you, get you a regular and then get back to the money. Because see, the problem is sex is important to you, or you just want to tell your friends. White men will leave the job, go to the nearest massage parlor, get a happy ending, and come right back to work and make $3,000 for the day. While many of you guys are scrubbing floors, only making $100 a day, trying to convince some woman to give you some sex for free. It's because you're making $100 a day. If you made the $3,000 a day, $100 wouldn't mean nothing to you. You guys are the same ones arguing over $40 meals. Man, that's $40. You got half? Oh my God. It's $40 is the bill. That's it? Sir. No, sir. Here. Take these 320, sir. Ma'am, I'm sorry you picked the loser. Take these 320, sir. Pay your bill and keep the change. Okay? It's not that serious. Go ahead, actual factual. Curse me out.
All right now, because let a young brother get his way through, man. First and foremost, man, you know I have nothing wrong, nothing against the pimping and hoeing community. It is what it is, and various industries that act as satellites around it. The stripping and all that good stuff. Listen, man, it that's a very old profession. I think part and parcel of what you're saying or what we see the phenomenon with it is that in America, see, we had to become the gentlemen of leisure, because of the sexual market being opened up to Africans as far as Europeans predating on Africans. So I think that's part of what you see right there. And so all it was, after the various different, sex forms and things of that nature died out or so-called died out. They became houses of, ill repute, brothels and things of that nature. So it was just kind of taken over being the gentleman, even though you had English gentlemen over in Europe that didn't have any Africans, it was just European women. And so you have to consider that. And so it's kind of taking a black eye. Nobody really wants to be broke on, because that's what you're dealing with, Mr. Research and Raw B. That hoe's got a break on him. She's taught to break on him. So that even that word trick, it doesn't have a good connotation to it. So brothers really don't want to, like you said, they rather, brag about how they got it for free and laugh with their boys. Nobody, it's like it's damn near like a rite of passage.
See, here's the thing, gentlemen. I don't value vagina like that. Vagina is entertainment for me and a place that births kids.
Oh, that's because you ain't had the right vagina.
Huh?
I said that's because you ain't had the right vagina.
No. I did have the right vagina, and it hurt me to leave it. But guess what? The good side of the force.
If you can't walk away in 30 seconds, don't do it.
It had old Ben saying, CA, resist the dark side. Look, I've had some vagina that made me say, oh my God, oh Jesus, I never want to leave. But guess what?
It's got to be backed up with something else. It
gotta be. It just gotta be. Because
that's the same way I feel about penis too. Like people think that a big penis is it. No, what comes along with that big penis?
It gotta be more than that, and people just don't understand it. Well,
wait, but let me just say this real quick.
Go ahead.
I have to get the kids. But it's also tricking to sell women fake dreams. Oh, we're going to be together. We're going to have happily ever after and not have to put no funds on it. That's tricking too. You playing mental games. You mentally trick it off.
I haven't lied to a chick since I was 17. I tell every chick up front, hey, I'm investigating to see whether me and you can keep your vagina. I'm getting that elsewhere. Oh, you talking to me and somebody else? No, I live a polyamorous life. So when I find a good woman, I'll leave polyamorous alone. But I'm letting you know I'm not stressing you for no sex. I want to enjoy you. Now, if she tells me, Raw B, and you educate me, if she tells me, well, I can't do nothing, okay, then I'll peace out. We ain't got to call each other. I enjoy being honest because I don't have to get every vagina. I'm not hunting vagina. I'm hunting brain cells. Maybe I'm just in a different, I don't know, educate me because NC Work is going to curse me out in a minute. Go ahead, Robbie.
That's because you got that pimp mentality. And see, and there ain't nothing wrong with it. I tell people all the time, everything you see in life is the pimp game. It's just reformulated so that you can ingest it. Even YouTube, even your favorite YouTubers, they run a pimp game on you. They run a pimp game on you. You need to understand that. And
Susan don't give you all your money, does she?
Right. That okay.
Look, the whole manosphere got mad at me when I told them in 2011. We all worked for Susan. Everybody got heels on their feet, including the men. No, I'm my own boss. You ain't no boss. Susan decided to take 75% of the money and give you 30%.
Take 30 and give you 70.
I mean, not yeah. She decided to give you 30. You used to get 50%. She just woke up one day and said, you know what, Indian man who owns Google, why are we even giving them 50? Take another 20 from them. They're not gonna say that. You know, the Indian man said, no, they might all leave. No, they won't. They too thirsty. And what did we do? Man, this algorithm ain't right. I'm shadow banned. But I'm gonna click in once again.
Exactly, man. Listen, everybody paying for something, and once people start realizing that you're paying for something, you start to value where your money goes instead of complaining about some stuff. You giving Google 30% of your assets and your super chats, and they ain't even putting that on your taxes. You still got to pay taxes on what you bring home. People need to
run that game back one more time. Run that beautiful bean music.
They
Raw
get 30% of your money and they ain't putting it on your taxes, and you still paying taxes on everything that you owe when you fill in your 1099. So if you think you ain't paying somebody for something, you are.
For all the slow people, that means that YouTube is taking the non-tax money first and leaving you with the tax part of it.
That part. And thank you for having me on, but I gotta go run to get the kids. But when you want to do the grand thing, just email me. I'll come up with you.
All right, no problem.
Have a good day, everyone.
All right, peace. Let's get to MC Worker. He said he wants to be. Go ahead.
Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, cool. Well, I mean,
hello? What did you do, actual factual, to NC Worker?
Man, you know I had to shut them off, man, because y'all out there misrepresenting, putting black guys on the pimping whole game, man. Putting black guys on the pimping whole game, man. She have been talking about everything's the pimp. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not.
You guys hear me?
I can hear you now, bro.
Go ahead, MC Worker.
Okay. I'm sorry about that. I'm driving, by the way. Sorry about that. But I mean, if you want to deal with a single mother, you're gonna have to. The kids gonna have to be a component, but I don't think they're gonna be the main component when you're trying to find someone to be able to build something with. Maybe into the beginning, but not in the overall scheme of things.
Explain, please. Explain.
Well, I mean, as far as certain mannerisms, as far as how you operate as a man, the kids, it would be fair to the kids to be able to show them what type of person, what type of leadership that they're going to be following, and it's included their mother. But when it comes down to you and your potential wife, their mother, acquiring land, property, especially for them in the future, nah, they just need to sit down and be quiet or go outside and go play.
Okay, actual factual, do you agree?
I disagree. This is 2020. I'm going by this tech. You know I have to be a contrarian now. I got to give you some pushback, man. It's gonna be a love fest up on here. How you ever gonna get some views, man? Check this out, man. 2020. Okay, don't make single mothers great again. Okay, now don't make them great again. Just avoid them. Just avoid them. Sorry, NC Worker, brother, but you no, don't do it. Don't do it. If you listen to the sound, don't do it.
I didn't say I was going to do it. I'm just saying that if you do it, because look, I mean, if you found a competent, good, let's say, just for kicks and giggles for the sake of the conversation, you find a good black woman who's willing to be a part of your program. She has a good kid who that kid also going to be a part of your program. I mean, you mean tell me because she's a single mother, you wouldn't be like, nope, you got a kid, no thanks.
The point is, NC Worker, I hear what you're saying. The point is what we're trying to do with these spaces. We want to make it reverberate. Yes, there are some good ones. I've run into some good ones. I have friends who work, keyword work, good ones. And now they got married again. They got listen,
okay.
Hey, you wanna know some real talk? Wanna know some real talk? Some of these women were aunts and all type of other women in my family. But I'm gonna tell you something. I want black men to exit that market, and the data shows we're already doing that. I know you're saying, hey, listen, if and when you wish upon a star, you see that, man, listen, I want us to get off the table. I want to take it off the table. That's the that's one of their problems. NC Worker, they think that they have this single mama sweepstakes. Black women been having a lock on it for the last 4 years. It needs to stop. And hopefully it's stopping with disease. Go, Bronny, go.
I hear what you're saying. I get it. I understand 100%. But if this single mother can get you to a better place or a better establishment, not just for you, but for the two of you and for her kid, I mean, why not?
I hear what you're saying. This is what happens. I'm talking on the psych level, and I know you and brother Sierra Latre will agree with. On a psychological level, when we give any kind of out psychologically, what happens is most people don't have the mental fortitude and discipline to do that. So you have this reoccurring, like I said, baby mama or single mama sweepstakes. Okay, could have a great kid. She could be on her purpose, whatever that might be. The problem is that psychologically, most people, most men in general, we talking about black men, don't have the fortitude to do that and drive past. So we need to psychologically hit a nerve and tell them. We need to put the message out until it becomes just a drone, like just like a clashing, like a message, basically a reverberating message to say avoid them, don't do it. I hear what you're saying. It's possible. I'm just simply saying, on a psychological standpoint, we have been doing that, and we have it's proven not to be effective or constructive, is what I'm saying to you, brother. Overall,
let me ask you this quick. Well, hold on. Let me ask you this quick question then. Is it proven that we've been doing that, or has it been proven that we've just been wiping out single mothers? Because I said that if you found a single mother that was about being part of your program, let's say the kid is too, the kid got a good kid, and you two are able to be able to elevate to a better situation than what you are in. Is that what we're doing as a collective, or we just choosing a single mother because she got fatty, or she know what to do with the bedroom?
Okay, here's what I'm saying. To that point,
actual Patrick can't the first time.
Well, no, yes I can. Yes I can. Yes I can.
You can't do it the first time. It takes him three times to actually explain.
No, yes I can. Yes I can. Those are ancillary issues. Here's the problem. The problem is that the women in general, listen to me, the women in general have not been acculturating their children, i.e. specifically daughters, after these arrangements to then make better decisions and avoid it altogether. What we keep seeing.
Okay. We got that.
I got. Give me one moment, okay? I'm gonna be listening, but just give me one moment. I'm gonna mute myself.
It's okay. Sir is finna curse me out. So, Sir finally made it. What's up, CER? How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good.
Welcome, sir. Share your mind with us. Teach me something, sir. What are your thoughts? You were disagreeing earlier.
Okay, so which part?
Whichever part you want to start with.
Earlier you were saying that children are our future and all of that. Obviously, children are our future. What I was talking about was when a man dates a woman, the children are either not theirs at the beginning of a relationship. They're not both of theirs. They're either from the man or from the woman.
True.
Either the man has children or the woman has children, if not both. So that's not the focus, is to appease the child. The child should be in a child's place. It should not be elevated at the same level or above the adult. That's what I was saying.
Okay, so let me explain something and you tell me if you still agree. Unfortunately, throughout history, marriages are supposed to be so that children can take over. Let me give you an example. The most popular pharaoh, Tekhamenetet, is not the actual son of the pharaoh that preceded him. The pharaoh that preceded him had no sons, and he just adopted 3 guys as his sons. And they became the greatest pharaohs that you've known. Ramesses II, Seti, they were not actually his kids. So a lot of times, even when you're taking on adopted children or stepchildren, you're setting them up to take care of you when you get old. That's a Chinese, Japanese thing, which is one of the reasons why they're so successful, because they do everything to help these kids be whatever it is that they're going to be. And then they'll take care of Sir. Am I pronouncing your name right, Sir? They'll take care of Sir when Sir gets old. So by that ideology, the women that were on the panel earlier, they're trying to say, and I'm trying to say, the kids kind of come first a lot of times, as opposed to the person that you with. Do you disagree?
No, I do agree that you are setting the children up to take care of you and go bring about the lineage. What my point was simply that I'm not looking for a child's approval. I'm not looking to be the child's friend. 9 times out of 10, if you're dealing with a single mother and sometimes with a single father, that child is already possibly elevated outside of a child's place. And I'm talking about a emotional and mental thing.
Elevated how? Elevated how?
As in, they have the say so. If it's a male child and it's a female, he is now the boyfriend. He has all of the ideals, say so, control, luxuries as what a boyfriend, fiance, or husband has or supposed to have. She caters to him that same way. And also sometimes when it's a male, he caters to that older daughter. If she's the oldest child or just the oldest daughter, he caters to her in that same way that he's supposed to cater to a female counterpart. That's what I'm talking about.
I can agree on that. Let's you and I step back. Let's hear from the other two guys, NC Worker or Actual Factual, whichever one you guys want to chop in. What are your thoughts?
Since the brother NC Worker is off a little for a second, yeah, that's been my experience, from personal experience, that they do tend to cater to that child because that child is the center of the universe. Because they're, like Mr. Sierra betrayed, they're concerned about the child. The child is now taking the primary focus, which I think is in part and parcel to some biological factors as well as some altruistic, psychological, societal things going on there with imparting culture and teaching the child, nurturing the child. So there is that. And
Raw B said it's about trust, not about friendship. It's about I'm new in this space. I'm not here to hurt you. So it might be that too. Most of when I did date a single mother, I did have to. It took a long time. I mean, I wasn't even trying that hard, to be honest. But I ended up getting the boy's trust. I had to spank him one good time though. But after that, never had to touch him again. And he just wanted to be involved in a lot of stuff, and I would involve him with a lot of stuff, just me and him, stuff that his father wouldn't do. And it was like tripping me out because me and his father had to have him yelling match. And I'm like, dude, come and see your son, man. What the fuck are you doing? But anyway, let's go back to Sir. Sir, what are your thoughts on what we said? And then we'll get to your second thing.
Yeah, I would say that trust is important. Trust is always important. But a lot of times that get misconstrued with them liking you. I don't care if you like me, little boy, little girl. I don't care. I'm not here to be your buddy. I'm here to help you be the best you can be, help the family grow as a whole, and for each individual person, including myself. I'm not here to be your buddy. I don't care. I know your mom probably pampered you and didn't handle things appropriately. Okay, I'm not here to stone her, but I am here to correct some of those bad things. So I don't care about your little feelings. I care about what's best for you.
So let me interject. So for people listening, Sir is not incorrect. I know you guys might not like the way Sir is saying it, but love comes after. Love for the kid comes after. A lot of times a man is in a situation, and the way Sir is expressing it, he feels he has to correct the issues first, if there are issues. before all the other stuff comes into play. Because a lot of time this boy or girl is operating, or you know what, let's take boy and girl out of it. Sometimes a woman with 2 dogs, you got to correct these dogs and her. I'm not going to be in a relationship with you and you got these dogs so undisciplined that they just jump on people. I'm going to have to correct all this. And if you don't want me to correct that, if you got a problem, let me not even deal with you. So understand Sir's point, not his delivery. Don't get caught up in his delivery. Go ahead, sir. Sorry to interrupt.
And that's a valid point. Is if it's the discipline problem, it's very important. A lot of times the woman or even the man coming in is undisciplined. They may know how to make money. They may know how to cook or clean or whatever their thing is needed necessarily, but they don't have true discipline. They don't know how to control themselves.
Let me take the woman side just a little bit. A lot of that, sir, has to do with guys vetting. So see, a lot of time guys want the vagina so much, they're not vetting these women. They're not willing to walk away. I walk away from women who have their children up beyond 8 p.m. If you got your kids up beyond 8 p.m., I do not continue talking to them. I don't care how fine you look. What are your thoughts on that?
I would say that that's it depends. It really depends on the woman, her mentality, and if she doesn't have the structure. If she's wanting to change it but just don't know how, that's something different than somebody who's fighting against that. Someone who knows better and choosing to do wrong versus someone who doesn't know better. If they know better and they still won't, then get low.
All right, let's go to the tricking one because that's going to be our final one here. Tricking. You heard what I had to say about it. Heard what Actual Factual had to say about it. What are your thoughts, sir?
I put it like this. People say, well, you always paying for something, you're paying for something. Not really. Not really. You do what you spend your money on, your time on is what you value. But at the same token, I don't spend money on a female that I wouldn't spend that same money on her for free if I'm having sex with her or not. If I don't care about you enough, or I'm not invested in your life enough that I would give you that same $40 or $400 without me having sex with you, then I'm not going to do it to have sex with you.
You know, that's very noble. I give you that. I think the thing that we're talking about is for those people who value sex, or for those people who feel they're only that they got to lie to get sex. What do you say about the man who tells a bunch of lie and calls it game?
I say that he is very weak. His game is weak. His talking points are weak. He does not understand or value himself.
You know I love
he
you,
has
girl.
No value.
You know I love you, girl. You know we 100.
Then very simply, for him to have to do that means that he is not clever, articulate, or anything, because I don't lie for 2 reasons. Not just my moral thing, I take that out of it. It's because I don't want to take the energy to lie. I don't want to remember what I lied.
A lot of energy.
I don't want to take the time. I got too much. My mind always
I can't
going.
be remembering what I said to her. No.
Yeah, I don't want to take the time to even try to remember it. I got a decent memory, but I don't want to waste none of my memory on some lie I told you. Like, that's unnecessary. Like, no. And if I was man enough to do it, then I should be man enough to say what it is. And also, it allows me a luxury by telling the truth and sometimes being blunt. You know, being blunt or harsher, depending on the person, they'll say, it allows me to not have to hide in that fear corner. People do a lot of stuff because of fear. I already fight enough fears. I don't have to fight fears of me hiding behind a false narrative.
Right. So let me address something Beauty Essence says. They have an article saying white women lead and single mothers now. So white women have always led single mothers. But what happened is white women started controlling these newspaper articles. White women started doing pieces on welfare moms. White women went against black women and tried to paint you guys as this and you guys as that. The same way Pew Research Center tries to paint black people as this and that, when actually Latin people have a higher number count than black people. This is why Black Demographics was born, because they saw that Pew Research was lying all the darn time. I say this to you, Beauty Essence, and all women. Stop believing what white women tell you guys about womanhood. They have not stuck by y'all this whole time. When they was telling y'all the women's movement, they still didn't want you working in the office with them. When they talking about women empowered, they still had y'all working in the basement and scrubbing their floors. And it was people like Sir, who became a doctor, and he hired you black women as the nurses. He hired me to clean his office. It was people like Actual Factual, who got together with some other brothers and created a rat trap factory. And he would hire men, black men and black women. The white woman was never on y'all team.
Never.
Let's go to Actual Factual first. What are your thoughts, sir?
I definitely concur.
No. Let's go to Actual Factual. Actual Factual?
Yeah, that is very interesting. You brought that article up. That is correct. They've always led, as far as population wise, demographic wise, they've always
Because
led. They're
white
larger.
men are the number one remarried out of everybody in they get remarried more than everybody. But go ahead.
And don't I know it? Because when I was in college, I did my work study thing, and I ran into a lot of those white guys in trades. They was like on their third and fourth. They would joke about it. So that is correct. Sisters just have to. Our concern is that where's the self cleaning at? You have to clean out or make a proper analysis of what's going on in the behavior you see in your demo. That's what we're concerned about.
Women don't like correcting women. It's the weirdest thing. Women used to correct women in the 70s. Women used to correct women in the 80s. Mid 90s is when women stopped correcting women. And they just start going for this womanhood thought process. Go ahead and finish up, Actual, and then we'll go to Sir.
Yeah, that's correct. I used to observe my mother used to do it. She used to do it to young black women when she saw them being non-feminine, taking on non-feminine attributes and mores and just how they carried themselves. My mother used to do it. I don't see that not so much anymore.
Let's go to Sir. Sir, what are your thoughts?
I would totally agree with that. That's something that we were talking about earlier. I said in the chat that if you want to just look at it, around the world is more women than men. In the black community, is definitely more women than men, especially after you take out the men who are incarcerated, the men who are homosexual, the men who aren't really men, they're just adult males,
low producers,
males,
low producers. They are just existing.
So, and that goes for every economic background, period. It goes for it's not just well-off people or okay people or poor people in every economic background.
Very true.
So if women decided we're going to check other women, then very simply more women would, I'm not saying every woman, but more women would get in line. I go through the problem of when you sit down and you talk with a bunch of women, they'll team up as women. Obviously, that's the first thing. And they pull their Beyonce moment. And then when you break through all the fallacies and the false pride and everything else, their last excuse will be, this is who I've been. This is who I am. Just take me as who I am. And if I was wrong,
and I want you to protect me.
Yes. Protect me in my wrongness and love me because I'm wrong. Don't love me for what I could be. Love me for what I choose not to be.
I want you to risk your job, sir. I want you.
Oh, I've been there, done that.
I want you to risk jail. I want you to risk all that.
Yeah, I've lived that
Even
life.
though I started the problem. You know,
Mhm.
I'm gonna let you finish, sir, but I just want to bring in this one point. It's just like the lady who the white woman pulled the gun on her, and all the black community was like, "Oh, she pulled the gun." But when you dug into the story, this mother and daughter would not leave this couple alone. This mother and daughter got behind the car, kicked the car, all this before the gun was even pulled out. This mother and daughter was sitting up here. The young daughter was cursing the husband out. All this before the gun was pulled out. It's like, wow. And I got to go protect that? Go ahead, sir. I apologize.
Yeah, so that's the biggest thing is then you have to look at the thing of they'll fall back as the last resort and or second to last will be, oh, well, if I was so bad, somebody else would have said something. My family member would have said something. My friend would have said something. This person would have said, no, they wouldn't, because they're getting what they want from you. They can't say that you shouldn't be hoeing around if they're the hoe. If they're hoeing just as much or more than you, they can't tell you stop sleeping with other people's husbands. They can't tell you to not throw all away all your income. Positive. They can't tell you that when they're doing the same thing or worse. And if they're being able to use you, then they're not, who is going to bite the hand that feed them?
Absolutely. Now, let me ask this other question. So, if you can get some full-breasted, full-hip Egyptian punani for, let's say, $150, and you had to guarantee that she wasn't all over every place. She had the same body count as the girl that you met at the bar 4 months ago. Are you going to take the 150 Egyptian option, sir?
As I stated before, I don't just sling my wood around because it's not a nunchuck and I'm not Bruce Lee. So
I hear you. Go ahead.
So I mean, it comes.
You got to protect your sword, huh? You got to protect
exactly, but it's also because I done been there and done that,
right.
and not the tricking part. And I understand people say, "Oh, well, it's not tricking if you got it." Yes, it is. You just can afford it.
Yep. Hey, I hear you. And look, these people get on me all the time. I say this, man. I just don't have, I got to get an investment. I can't. I hate dating. That's why I got some of the situations that I got. I prefer. I'm at the point where I prefer to have a wife. I prefer to deal with one individual. But I tell guys all the time, man, if you just out here trying to lie to chicks, Bill Cosby, I ain't got to point no farther than Bill Cosby. He swore up and down he had an arrangement, swore up and down he had an understanding with every last one of those women. But when those women had an opportunity to possibly get some money, well, back in 1958,
That's what happens when you go messing with Becky.
Oh man, Becky.
I mean, not saying that a black woman won't do that. A black woman.
I'm gonna tell you, as a person that's dealt with a lot of different cultures, Becky will betray you when you're not able to give her the fantasy that you sold her on.
Yep.
Let me say it again. Becky will betray you harder than a black woman. If you don't follow through with the fantasy that you sold her on, all type of charges is coming to you.
I would even say a step further than that, the fantasy she sold herself on, if you assisted in that fantasy or not.
That's true too, because white people have a movie playing in their head all the time. It's starring them, directed by It's like, golly, it's a weird thing. But let's start doing the countdown. MC Worker, give us the final thoughts, brother. I've been here for 3 hours, and that's way too long. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are this, at the end of the day, if you want to find someone who wants to be a part of your program, regardless if they're a single mother or not, at the end of the day, that is your decision. Just make sure you're wise about how you move and make sure that everything you do is calculated. Because at the end of the day, the plans that you make need to benefit you. And it so happens that if it benefits others while it benefits you, so be it. But you have to be able to put yourself first and put yourself in a situation that you can be able to put yourself first. And thanks for always letting me come up here and speak on your panel.
Appreciate it, sir. Absolute, actual factual. What are your thoughts, sir?
As a matter of fact, black men, those who are willing to be upwardly mobile, you should strive to be a high value man, and all of the qualities that are associated with it that make up a high value man, as Mr. Kevin Samuels has stated over and over again.
Or be an established man. Be an established man, at least.
Be an established man. You should ascribe to do that. You should also have gotten very good uncommon information from our brothers in our space regarding martial arts, fitness, books, reading, mental stability, psychological. By all means, men, black men, strive for those things. Do those things. Take those things up and put them in your personal life. Thank you, Mr. Research. I appreciate it.
All right. You got to live beyond women and be able to take care of yourself, even if you don't have a female to help you. I mean, fellas, I lived on myself for 20 plus years. The last thing I thought of was trying to go 50-50 with a female. I mean, come on. So, sir, what are your final thoughts?
I would say, pretty much you have to stay focused on what you want, and anything other than helping yourself get to the top or helping someone who actually trying to help themselves get to the top is a distraction. Don't be distracted. Be focused. Be certain.
Absolutely. Like I said, I kill dragons for a living. Seek out a dragon, y'all, and kill it. Do not sit around here and be running from these dragons, hiding out under Sir, asking Sir to protect you, asking Mr. Research to protect you. You got to kill dragons for our kids. Much love, you guys. I'll talk to y'all later. Deuces. Yeah.